On the level.
Flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them.
It's like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado. So maybe there does need to be a rematch. I mean, obviously, I can beat him again. So, of course, he's obsessed with me.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
He is the youngest senator that is going to be running. In his video, he also mentioned he's the only senator that lives in the inner city, and he's an unmarried vegan. So a lot of very unique qualities Cory Booker brings to the table, Kate.
Now, I appreciate the comments of my colleagues. This is about the closest I'll probably ever have in my life to an I am Spartacus moment. I am Spartacus. I am Spartacus.
Joey, you like movies about gladiators?
Have you ever had an LGBTQ law clerk?
I've not been a judge, so I don't have any law clerks.
Sorry, someone working for you.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
What would happen if after 9/11 we had done nothing? And to me, January 6th was worse than 9/11.
The world! And they are the greatest disinformation group of people ever in the world.
They lie to everybody. They lie to the fish.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
You know, a lot of people ask me about Dr. Fauci. I like Dr. Fauci, but they said, why didn't you fire him? I said, no, he was good. He'd recommend something. I do the opposite, and we always turned out to be right.
Yes. I will do the opposite. I used to sit here and do nothing and regret it for the rest of the day. So now I will do the opposite, and I will do something.
Big tech is out of control. They banned the sitting president of the United States, a ban that continues to this day.
People can also be forgiven. What happened to that? What happened? It almost feels very Soviet, kind of, sometimes.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Well, I knew the NEA was out of control, but I didn't know it was this bad. It is bad. I'm taking a look at their website and found documentation of how they plan on rolling out critical race theory in public schools throughout the nation. The NEA, the largest union in the United States, looking to propagandize your children, expose them to this dangerous curriculum. And we've got a guest on later today who's one of the many parents across the nation looking to stop this and change the track of education in America. It's not education anymore. It's indoctrination. It is frightening what's happening in our schools. In the intro, great intro today, by the way, by Matt, and we're going to get into a lot of the Trump stuff. That's part of the poll question today about his lawsuit against big tech, what that could mean, why it's important, why it might not turn out the way he wants. I've got my own thoughts on that as well. But I really want to discuss critical race theory in schools today. It is scary. Before we go into what the NEA has posted to their website, this documentation, their literal agenda for incorporating critical race theory into our schools, I do think it's a bit important to continue to clarify what critical race theory is. As I understand it, and there are many definitions of what critical race theory is, but as I understand it, it's the teaching of how the foundation of America was built on racist principles, how the structuralization of America was founded on racist principles, how just capitalism in general is racist and unequitable. It's not fair for everybody. And how, the different corporations of America, their actions that they take, the practices that they use, how that affects different communities throughout the nation. It's racist. I was reading, NPR, I believe, posted something that fireworks were racist because the smoke from the fireworks often flows into communities of color, poor communities. These are generally the community. You take the fireworks to where the biggest sector of the population is, at least, or the best viewing area, and oftentimes that's the best place, and it happens to be where the largest, centralization of the population is. In New Bedford, it's the harbor, and we have Fairhaven on one side. We've got New Bedford on the other. It's a heavily populated area. It's just outside of downtown, and outside of downtown is heavily populated. We've got triple deckers all over the place, just like many other Massachusetts communities. And so it was racist for them to set fireworks off, I guess, because it creates a poor breathing environment. Well, that is part of critical race theory, taking a look at everything, examining it down to its core, seeing how it affects different people. While it doesn't affect white people such and such a way, it affects black people or Hispanic communities in a more negative aspect. It's a crazy way of looking at the world. If you're going to look at the entire world and see as how it's victimizing you and how you have gotten a bad shake, there's no, and I'm going to enrage AOC here, there's no way anybody can pull themselves up by their bootstraps. She hates that phrase because she thinks it's physically impossible. She thinks you have to be standing and you're pulling up on your leg and you levitate. I don't know. But it's strange. If you're going to look at the world in this mentality that everybody's out to get you, and what everybody does is going to negatively impact you because you're of minority status, I'm sorry, you're going to stay in that sunken place if that's where you're coming from. What we should be teaching in schools is how to self-promote, how to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Not everybody was born with a silver spoon in their mouth. I understand that. I certainly wasn't. But I've often said, and I still say to this day, any opportunity that comes your way, no matter how small, if it's a step up, even if it's just a little step up, take it. Say yes. Figure out the details later. Always take a chance. You won't get anywhere being stagnant. It's the literal definition of the word. You're not moving. You're not going anyplace. Nothing's happening. And if you're going to tear others down in order to build yourself up, that's not equity. That's not progress. It's insane that anybody thinks this is a good idea. This is out of Issues and Insights. The left's critical race theory is ruining U.S. public education. And this is really a call to action for parents across the nation to really take stock of themselves and get more involved in their child's education and their child's classmates' educations. A radical teachers union has a message for parents. We control your children, not you. And it means to prove it by shoving Marxist critical race theory down your kids' throats, part of the union's ongoing effort to fundamentally change America. If you want the best for your children's education, you'll say hell no to this pernicious anti-American ideology. Unfortunately, many centrist and conservative parents have looked the other way as our nation's once superior public schools have been taken over by leftist unions and their educator allies using race-based Marxist CRT as their tool. Just last weekend, the 3 million-strong National Education Association, the largest labor union in America, stated its outright opposition to parents' groups and state legislatures seeking to end CRT's baleful influence on a whole generation of school kids. And we're going to get to the NEA's agenda in just a bit. Doubling down, the NEA announced not just its support for CRT, but also said it would encourage teachers to hold a national day of action each year on martyr George Floyd's birthday to teach lessons about structural racism and oppression. Now, that's a bit of a turnaround from what Randy Weingarten was saying today, one of the principal heads of the NEA. This is Jared, cut 7.
Critical race theory is not taught in elementary schools or middle schools or high schools. It's a method of examination taught in law school and in college that helps analyze whether systemic racism exists, and in particular, whether it has an effect on law and public policy. But culture warriors are labeling any discussion of race, racism, or discrimination as CRT to try to make it toxic. They are bullying teachers and trying to stop us from teaching students accurate history.
That's not history. It's one thing to teach history. And by the way, the guest that we have on later, he is a U.S. history teacher, and he'll be able to tell us all about what critical race theory is and how it's not a history lesson in the traditional sense. History is a laying out of the facts as they happened. It's a common said phrase that the winners write the history books, right? Well, we've written the history books, and apparently we're going to continue to write the history books according to Randy Weingarten. It's not a history lesson. It's showing us history, showing us America's racist history, which, again, you listen to anybody else, they're going to tell you the same thing. What happened in America and how it was founded and the methods used to build up the nation, it was wrong. And there's no justification for it. But it wasn't just America. It was a worldwide culture to hold slaves, going back to biblical times. It's not just America. But I think it's important for us to recognize the sin of slavery. No, I don't think anybody's arguing that. But slavery does not exist today in the United States of America as it did then. It's been abolished. It's gone. And I think we can all be thankful of that. It's not a good way of doing business, not a good way to treat anybody else. We want fairness. We want equality for everybody. That's what the nation was founded upon, and our founding fathers realized that sin generations down the line. But taking our history and transposing it to the modern era and saying the principles that were used then are still being implemented today in this racist context is a horrific way of looking at anything. And it's not true. Nobody is building up a business from the ground up saying, boy, I can't wait to stick it to the minorities with this. Nobody does that. And if they do, they should be run out of the country. It's such a strange way of looking at what this is. Teachers are actively opposing parents who don't like what they're doing. The NEA last week, for instance, also voted to research, that is, spy on and politically attack groups that oppose CRT in our nation's schools. NEA will research, this is a quote, the organizations attacking educators doing anti-racist work and or use the research already done and put together a list of resources and recommendations for state affiliates, locals, and individual educators, the union threatened. So they're going to assess where every single district is at, how they're teaching racism or anti-racism, how they're implementing their own curriculums, and going to be getting back to them saying, here's how you can do better. Here's how you can be less white. Here's how you can be less racist. Nobody's actively teaching racism in our schools. This is ridiculous. 844-500-4242. We'll be back with more of this. I'm Taylor Cormier, filling in for Howie Carr. This is The Howie Carr Show.
When Howie's on, every radio is a magic radio.
Dr. Chris Hines of DiStefano Hair Restoration has been overwhelmed and thrilled by his clients' response to his platelet-rich plasma therapy offer. Therefore, this amazing deal will continue to be offered through the end of August. Act now and save $2,000 on PRP therapy. PRP stands for platelet-rich plasma therapy. It's an easy way to get quick hair growth. Dr. Hines will take your own plasma and apply the treatment where hair growth is desired. This is a fast, safe, and affordable method of hair restoration. PRP is truly remarkable and has been used in medicine to promote growth and healing throughout the body. DiStefano Hair Restoration is offering 2 free booster sessions when you sign up for PRP. This is a huge savings. I often hear from listeners that they wish that they had gone to DiStefano Hair Restoration sooner. You may have been procrastinating too. Wait no more. This is the best offer you'll get all year. Go to hairman.com and look at my before and after pictures. Stop putting it off and get the hair you deserve. That's hairman.com.
Hello, all the participants in tonight's event. We can overcome the deadly virus. We can reward work. We will reclaim our credibility. The pandemic, we need all our strength to persevere. Rural versus urban. America built of decency. I took it to instill public confidence in the vaccine. President-elect Harris took hers today for the same reason. Everybody is entitled to be treated with decency. All my colleagues I serve with in the House and the Senate up here. James Joyce was said to have told a friend, I understand they worry about their jobs. I understand, like my dad, they lay at bed at night staring at the ceiling. Yes. God love you, man. You're a one-horse pony. Come on, give me a break, man.
If you wake up in the morning feeling stiff, then you need Balance 7. Balance 7 has helped me with all my aches and discomfort. I've been using Balance 7 for months now, and I wish I'd learned about it years ago. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. Often I'm asked to try products and can be very skeptical of claims. But with Balance 7, everything I was told turned out to be 100% true. If you've been holding off, don't wait any longer. The mailroom manager loves it for energy, and my daughter Charlotte takes it before bed to help her sleep. When I take Balance 7, I don't feel my energy fading as the day wears on. I have a jug at the studio and another jug at home. Balance 7 reduces the acids that build up in your body over time. All you have to do is drink a small shot of the liquid 3 times a day, and you will feel the difference in 24 hours. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or joint discomfort, then give Balance 7 a try. Go to balance7.com and put in code Howie for free shipping. That's balance7.com, code word Howie.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love. And to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it. All right, here it is. The official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony. Hey, this guy's a great big phony.
Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out.
Oh, my. Yeah.
He'll regret it to his dying day, if ever he lives that long.
Howie Carr is back.
844-500-4242. Today's poll question is brought to you by Goldco. Stagflation is making a comeback. Go to goldco.com/Howie Carr to request your free IRS loophole guide and learn how you can protect your wealth and take control of your retirement. That's goldco.com/Howie Carr. Jared, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will President Trump's lawsuit overturn his ban from social media?
I don't think so.
61% of the audience agrees no. it will not.
Yeah, we'll get more into this as the show goes on. It was an interesting press conference. It was always great to see President Trump. Great to hear his sense of humor. Even he's filing a lawsuit, and this is a pretty serious issue, but he still has a sense of humor. And it's an authentic sense of humor. It's not like a Joe Biden using the same joke that he's used for 270 years. But it's he's funny. He can make you laugh even in a serious matter such as this. Maybe he made Joe laugh. He probably makes Joe laugh. 844-500-4242, talking about critical race theory. And, they say it's not in the schools, but how many stories have we read? How many stories have we heard over the past few months of children coming home saying that their parents must be racist because they're white? Or it's happening. It's in there already. It may not be official. It may not be officially a part of the curriculum, but it is being taught. Okay, there are radical teachers out there teaching some of this stuff, and they're trying to make it official, which is the point. And again, we've got the documents to prove it. Back to the issues and insights for just a moment to finish this up. Parents are already reacting to CRT and other unwanted leftist intrusions on their children's education. Enrollment in preschool and kindergarten plummeted 13% this year, while overall school enrollment dropped 3% as more parents removed their children from public schools for alternatives. Local school boards already face growing parent revolts, possibly the start of a national movement, as Manhattan Institute senior fellow Christopher F. Rufo reports, noting that 58% of Americans in a recent YouGov survey oppose critical race theory. I hope that number goes up. And I hope people are serious about finding alternative ways for their children to be educated. I kind of joke with my wife. My son is 10 months old, beautiful, bright boy. We love him very much, and I want the best for him. And at this point, public education is not the way to go. I joke with her, and I say, yeah, homeschooling might look like a good option. She loves him, but she doesn't think of herself as a teacher. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I was hoping for Trump, and this was being talked about if he was going to be reelected, if he would put in tax incentives for people that homeschool their children. So their taxes, they kind of get a rebate because they're not using up the public school system. But I doubt that's going to happen under a Biden administration. Chris, you're next on the Howie Carr Show. Go ahead, Chris.
Hey, great to be with you. I'm from Connecticut, and I'm also a local Board of Education official, and I'm working with a lot of others in Connecticut to rally people to get the parents empowered to understand what this is going on. And it is going on in Connecticut. It's going on everywhere. And all you need to know how bad it is, obviously, as you've referred to, is having the NEA and the AFT endorse it. When they forget they're agents of the state, and usually you're supposed to hand them the curriculum to teach, not have them come up with the curriculum to teach. That's a huge distinction. The other point I think I want people to understand is don't get dissembled by the left when they say, well, you're trying to quash free speech and debate. This is about taking a dogma, a postmodern dogma, which really defies everything we want to learn to instill in our children, which is to think, as they say, think critically and objectively. It rejects objective truth. That's what it's all about.
Right, Chris, and the classroom is not the ground to make that distinction. It's not the ground to take that fight to. We shouldn't be hashing this out in front of the kids and causing even more confusion about what is reality. Am I born into something? Is everything the fault of my ancestors and the people around me, their ancestors? Or is this just the way it is, and this is my starting point? Not everybody's born into the same class, the same financial income. There's all kinds of different factors, but throughout history, people have overcome that.
Well, it's more important than that. You're telling children, minors, who are captive audience, they have to regurgitate what's told to them back to the teacher. They have to please the teacher to get a passing grade. And this falls outside of what would be acceptable, I think, curriculum, because what it does is, as you says, it puts the child on the spot to deny that they are implicitly biased, that they are created. I believe all children are created. We're all created in the face of God. But even if you're not religious, these are children. These are innocent children who are told that they have some problem with themselves and their parents, and that and it's no fault, but the only way to change it is to destroy the cultural heritage of our country.
Thank you very much for the call, Chris. Great call. And we will get to more after Grace's news. Hang in there, folks. We'll be back. I'm Taylor Cormier, and this is The Howie Carr Show.
If you wake up in the morning feeling stiff, then you need Balance 7. Balance 7 has helped me with all my aches and discomfort. I've been using Balance 7 for months now, and I wish I'd learned about it years ago. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. Often I'm asked to try products and can be very skeptical of claims. But with Balance 7, everything I was told turned out to be 100% true. If you've been holding off, don't wait any longer. The mailroom manager loves it for energy, and my daughter Charlotte takes it before bed to help her sleep. When I take Balance 7, I don't feel my energy fading as the day wears on. I have a jug at the studio and another jug at home. Balance 7 reduces the acids that build up in your body over time. All you have to do is drink a small shot of the liquid 3 times a day, and you will feel the difference in 24 hours. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or joint discomfort, then give Balance 7 a try. Go to balance7.com and put in code Howie for free shipping. That's balance7.com, code word Howie.
Howie says it all the time. When it comes to bad politicians, Massachusetts takes the cake.
It is my honor to introduce to you your senator, my senator, Senator Elizabeth Warren.
I know who I am because of what my mother and my father told me.
Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Governor Deval Patrick.
And frankly, I got to tell you, with all the other things I'm worrying about, this is not one of them. We're going to be fine. I'm in charge.
Please join me in welcoming our own Senator Ed Markey.
The planet is running a fever. There are no emergency rooms for planets.
The very first African-American congresswoman to be elected from Massachusetts, Ayanna Pressley.
We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice.
Let's give him a great Waterloo reception. John Kerry.
The Yankees posted the Boston Red Sox logo and they sang Sweet Adeline.
A lot of us are going to be on the move again this summer. So my advice to you, take your Raycons with you. Whether you're working out to a pumped-up playlist or listening to a podcast on your commute, a pair of Raycon wireless earbuds in your ears can make all the difference. With Raycon, you get crisp, powerful beats at half the price of other buds. Look great and feel even better. They come in a range of cool colors with customizable gel tips for a comfortable in-ear fit. Raycons are built to go wherever you go with quick and seamless Bluetooth pairing and a compact charging case. And with a 24-hour battery life, they're a must-have for your daily grind, all day, every day. Raycon has a 45-day happiness guarantee, so give them a try. You'll be surprised you ever went anywhere without them. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie. Buy Raycon.
Are we starting to feel bad for Joe Biden? Sorta. Are we going to play his gaffes anyway? Of course.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate.
Now we need to stand behind Jamie Harrison, the next president, next senator.
I'm looking forward to appointing the first African-American woman to the United States Senate. Just like here in California, here in Nevada. Back in the spring, late fall, late spring, late winter, early fall. Anyway, you know what I mean.
Look, tomorrow's Superstar Tuesday.
I tell you what, I'm rushing ahead, aren't I? We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing. It says you cannot have 20, 30, 40, 50 clips in a weapon.
We'll see who's sleepy.
Mr. Vice President, thank you.
All right, Chuck. Thank you very much.
All right. It's crisp.
Sometimes I wake up and I think it's 1920 and not 2020.
Wait a second. How did John Kerry vote on NAFTA?
Listen, outsourcing.
How did John Kerry
NAFTA
vote on does not
NAFTA? NAFTA had to do with Mexico and Canada, not outsourcing of jobs to India. And the fact of the matter is, we give $12 billion in tax breaks to companies that outsource jobs to
What would you say?
overseas.
What would you say about a corporation, a major American food-producing corporation that has 57 factories outside the United States of America? What would you call that company? I'd call it H.J. Heinz.
I knew that was coming. Why do we have to
course.
attack a candidate's wife? Why can't we stick to the issues?
That's where his money comes from.
Oh,
He's a gigolo. I'm Howie Carr.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show. 844-500-4242 is the number to join us. But right now, we're going to dive into Grace's news.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for having me, Taylor. You're doing a wonderful job filling in for Howie. And Grace's news, we're going to start with another leader, Andrew Cuomo.
Oh, boy.
So Andrew Cuomo, in what some are calling political grandstanding, which I think is kind of a bold
That's
statement.
so uncharacteristic for him.
I thought the same thing. I was like, what do you have no faith
He's
in him?
usually a very humble guy.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Cuomo's gun violence disaster emergency that targets manufacturers in wake of July 4th weekend of bloodshed is slammed as political grandstanding when he should be coming down harder on criminals. So Andrew Cuomo announced, this is the part I find kind of amazing, that he's going to make it easier for relatives to sue gun companies. The reason I find this particularly ironic is because people can't sue nursing homes where a lot of
That's true.
some problematic things for Andrew Cuomo occurred.
It's true. I'm not sure people can sue auto manufacturers if an illegal alien kills one of their family members with an uninsured vehicle.
Also a very good point. Gun violence is soaring to levels not seen since the early 2000s, and it's spreading out to cities like Buffalo and Rochester. Some critics are saying, and I'd be curious what you think, that the policies such as releasing prisoners early are the reason for this wave of crime, not guns.
Wasn't New York one of the states that when COVID started to hit, they released prisoners from
Yes,
the prisons?
I believe it was.
What did you think was going to happen? They were just going to thank the good Lord above and start a new life?
I think that was the hope, probably.
No.
Also, though, we should take a little bit of this Cuomo sound. I want to start with cut 10.
Because this is the state. When it sees an injustice, we don't look the other way.
We write a book about it.
Yeah, I was going to say, tell that to all your former employees who are suing you for sexual harassment.
When we talk about injustice, we sell it to a publishing company and make millions of dollars on it.
And then we make our employees sing Danny Boy.
Make me give you your cell phone number. Oh, God.
I know.
Dope.
He has he has zero self-awareness.
No, he doesn't.
Speaking of New York, and New York City specifically, Eric Adams is declared the winner of the primary, most likely next NYC mayor. So this was on the cover of the New York Post today. Eric Adams, former police officer, he is probably going to be mayor of New York City. I have high hopes for him, mostly because he cannot be any worse than Bill de Blasio.
I don't think anybody can be much worse than Bill de Blasio. We need to find out the details of Eric Adams' day. What time does he wake up?
Oh, yeah, because if it's before 11, he's already got de Blasio beat.
What time does he go to the gym?
How long are his walks midday?
What time is his nap?
Right.
How many tokes does he take before going back to the office? These are important questions.
Will he eat a cheeseburger on top of a microphone?
Along with fries.
Yeah, these are important
Wash
questions.
it down with a Dr. Pepper.
Adams emerged narrowly ahead of Catherine Garcia. She's the former de Blasio hack. 50.5% to 49.5%. I'm sure that has to do with more of ranked choice voting than actual, it being a close race.
Yeah, I was looking at the tolls, the tallies rather, and eliminated, and this person got these votes, and I don't know how any of that got snuck into our elections.
It's so insane. It's like we're overcomplicating things to make them more simple.
It's not even it overcomplicates them, but it's such an unfair advantage. Those people didn't earn those votes.
Yeah. No, tell it to Bruce Poliquin.
Yeah. If you're not going to earn the votes, you don't get to continue in the race.
I also love how they want to enact this more complicated, easily messed up way of voting, but then they can't even clear out the 135,000 votes from the system before people come in to vote. So maybe just start with the basics,
Well, maybe they were just hoping that nobody caught it. That's what I think was going on.
But Eric Adams caught it. Maybe that's why he won. By the way, summer is a time for excitement, so try something new with HelloFresh. Choose from 50 menu and market items every week, including quick dinners and 10-minute lunches.
Howie just got a shipment here.
I saw that.
Meatballs with bulgogi sauce.
And buffalo chicken parm.
Ooh.
That looks very
I'm a
yummy.
big fan of their Korean dishes, so I might abscond with the bulgogi.
I think you should. He's going to be back tomorrow, so now's the time. Take it while you can.
He'll notice it's gone.
Get up to 14 free meals plus free shipping when you use code Howie14 at HelloFresh.com/Howie14. I know you hit on this earlier, Taylor, but Trump to sue Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg, Twitter's Jack Dorsey. Trump made this announcement today. I think people have different opinions on whether or not it's going to be a good move. Some people think it's just going to dredge up January 6th over and over and over again.
Yeah, I think it's something that had to happen. I mean, there was no universe that existed where Trump wasn't going to sue Twitter and Facebook and Google for, first of all, suppression of information, and second of all, infringement on his First Amendment rights. And many other people's. It's a class action lawsuit, and he says thousands of people have already joined on and are looking to join on. And he claims it's the biggest class action, the likes of which nobody has ever seen before. That's true. We'll see.
I was dead on.
But yeah, I think this is if it gets to court, it's just going to dredge up a lot of the January 6th. They're going to look at his last tweets. What was the straw that broke the camel's back for Twitter and Facebook and Instagram?
But he even said it himself. The straw that broke the camel's back wasn't really his worst straw. He's had way worse straws before.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, and neither can he.
He's had a couple tweets about Stormy Daniels that I thought were going to push people over the edge.
It's not going to be just his tweet. It's going to be his tweet in juxtaposition with the photos of the flashbangs going off in front of the Capitol, the broken windows, the horn guy, the trashed furniture, the
crowbars,
and Andy Kim cleaning up trash with his blue suit, all of that.
His J. Crew blue suit.
And that's how this is what our president did to stop it. Well, first of all, you all were complaining that he was on Twitter giving out, not public information, but talking to the public directly. You were complaining about that. But now when he has a platform to do it, and you say he didn't communicate well enough through Twitter to stop this quote-unquote insurrection, now you have a problem with it.
Right. No, you're right. And it will be interesting. I think that if I know Trump, which I think I do, he probably has a plan on how he's going to really put this unfairness on a huge scale so people can see just how this was rigged against him. Because it wasn't just January 6th. I mean, this stuff was happening. They really did tilt the scale towards Biden in a way that I don't think a lot of people thought was possible, including Twitter with the Hunter Biden stuff.
Did you get to play that cut earlier about Hunter Biden?
No, go ahead.
This is Trump's talking about the worst of them all. Wasn't even about him. It was about Hunter's laptop and Jack Dorsey really suppressing that information from Twitter. This is cut 19.
The laptop from hell. They didn't want to. You look at that thing. There is more criminal activity on that laptop than Al Capone had, if he ever had a laptop. Would like to give Al Capone one, but he was a baby compared to what I was able to see.
Yeah, and I'll never forget the interview that Trump did with Leslie Stahl, where he was like, why don't you guys want to talk about the laptop? We can't report on that. We don't know that. We can't verify it. Well, why don't you verify it? We can't.
New York Post certainly had no trouble verifying it.
No, New York Post.
Daily Mail has not had any trouble verifying it.
It's really, really sad. That was an October surprise, and it just didn't get any attention.
Where did they think all these pictures were coming from? Of his jacked up teeth in the dentist's office. Do you think somebody else just was holding on to that selfie?
Him in a bathtub.
These are pictures that haunt me at night.
Oh, yeah, you and me both, brother.
This is nightmare fuel.
It really is. And it's not over.
Don't look it up.
Every day you go on the Daily Mail, there's a new little batch of photos.
Yeah.
Did you hear about yesterday when he was saying that prostitutes
I saw a
should
headline.
unionize?
Yeah, I saw that headline.
He's an expert. He's a jack of all trades. You know, you think, okay, he's really going to start focusing on the straw concentric circle paintings, and that's where, or he's a locomotive expert. Like, you always think he's found his spot, and then you realize, no, he has so many
He's
talents.
an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
He's always looking for those opportunities.
He's a Renaissance man.
Yeah.
One last thing, not that I need to tell anyone this. I'm sure a lot of you have noticed this on your rides into work, but gas prices have surged 40% under Joe Biden, and they're getting worse. After the price of gas clocked in at its most expensive since 2014, prior to the July 4th weekend, at an average of $3.11 a gallon, a report from Tuesday indicates a 2-cent increase to $3.13 a gallon.
It's gotten to the point I don't even look at the price anymore. I have to put fuel in the car in order to get to work.
Is there gas in the car? Howie would want me to do that if you were here.
Yeah, I don't look at the price anymore. I just fill it up. That's it. I got to go.
Well, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because John Berman did ask Jen Psaki about this. I played it earlier in my show, but I think it's worth replaying for your audience. Cut 12.
How can you make people's lives better so that more women can come into the workforce, more families, more kids can be competitive over the long term? And that's what he's going to be talking about
One
today.
thing that would make people's lives better is lower gas prices, right? I mean, they're rising steadily. What can the president do to keep those down?
Well, we have had a team of our officials from the government in touch. We're not a part of the OPEC negotiation.
OPEC negotiation? What does that have to do? You canceled pipeline jobs. You stopped new drilling, new fracking.
Can I just say one thing that would make people's lives better?
What's that?
Lower pork chop prices.
Listen.
And Joe Biden delivered on that.
He certainly did. We didn't even ask him to. I didn't, I don't think anybody cast their vote for Joe Biden saying, this is the man I want to lower my pork chop prices, but by golly, he got it done.
He did it. That's just the kind of guy he is.
Listen. We did it, Joe.
We did it, Joe. Beans are 2 cents lower this year.
Oh, my God.
You are truly the next Ronald Reagan. It's afternoon in America, as they say.
The sun is out.
The sun is out.
That's
blinding.
That's when afternoon begins, when the sun comes out.
Oh, by the way, one last thing. Biden is heading to Illinois to push his American Families Plan. You might know it as the American Families PAN.
He's with Mayor Lightfoot. I saw pictures of him.
She's another one. She's the gift that keeps on giving. She's just like Joe.
She looked so miffed, and he looked so lost. I mean, when doesn't she look miffed, and when doesn't he look lost? I mean, it was a characteristic photo of both of them.
I think that would be a nice little fun sitcom, the two of them together. All the craziness they'd get into.
Tim Burton's The Government.
Oh, no. She does look like a Tim Burton character. Oh, boy.
And they could just knock on people's doors. Are you vaccinated? Jen Psaki could follow them too.
And you and Howie are going to be at Cape Gunworks this Friday, right?
Yes, very excited about that. We'll be at Cape Gunworks from 12 to 6. It's going to be super fun. It's always one of my favorite remotes. If you've never been to Cape Gunworks in Hyannis, definitely check it out.
Are you going to be doing a shooting competition with Howie?
I wouldn't call it a competition. I mean, I win, he loses, but
yeah,
it's more of a tradition at
I've
this
been
point.
saying this week, when I went to Cape Gun last year with Howie, and he's not a marksman.
No, and unfortunately for him, I'm a markswoman, so it stinks. But
I thought you were a Will's woman.
I'm a Will's woman and a markswoman.
But all right, Grace.
Will's gonna like that one.
Thank you very much.
Bye, guys.
844-500-4242. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Don't touch that dial. Howie Carr will be back after this.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Moby Dick's on Route 6 in Wellfleet. Don't let the lines deter you. It's worth the wait. From seafood gumbo to lobster roll, Moby Dick's has it all. The president's economists are predicting the return of stagflation. Remember stagflation? We had it 40 years ago under Jimmy Carter. Stagflation crushes your retirement savings. The economy doesn't just stagnate, it regresses. You can already see it in the headlines. Inflation triples, gasoline prices spiraling, tax hike proposals on income and capital gains. The Fed's printing money they don't have. What are you doing now to protect your money? Turn to Goldco, the leading gold IRA company in the U.S. and 4-time Inc. 500 winning company. You can trust the team at Goldco to help you protect and and grow your wealth. Go to goldco.com/Howie Carr or call 855-972-9718, the dedicated phone number for my listeners, to request your free IRS loophole guide and learn how you can take control of your retirement. If you visit goldco.com/Howie Carr right now or call 855-972-9718, Goldco will give you up to $10,000 in free silver when you open a qualifying account. That's right, up to $10,000 in free silver.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
What do you say? The first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
Hello, all the participants in tonight's event. We can overcome the deadly virus. We can reward work. We will reclaim our credibility. The pandemic, we need all our strength to persevere. Rural versus urban. America built of decency. I took it to instill public confidence in the vaccine. President-elect Harris took hers today for the same reason. Everybody is entitled to be treated with decency. All my colleagues I serve with in the House and the Senate up here. James Joyce was said to have told a friend, I understand they worry about their jobs. I understand, like my dad, they lay in bed staring at the ceiling. Yes. God love you, man. You're a one-horse pony. Come on, give me a break, man.
Leave the gun. Take the cannoli.
The Howie Carr Show.
After the top of the hour, we'll dig into the NEA's agenda. I've got it right here. This is direct from their website. Talks about police-free schools, studying other schools to make sure that they're not teaching any racist curriculums. I don't know where there are any racist curriculums, and I would hope that our public schools aren't teaching racism as a good thing. Result in greater numbers of native educators and educators of color in the education professions and the union, specifically in high-quality, full-time, professional, or tenure-track positions. There's a whole bunch of this stuff laid out in their dozen-page-long agenda. 844-500-4242. John, you're next on the Howie Carr Show. Go ahead, John.
Hey, Just giving you a quick call about the critical race theory. It's been in the news quite a bit on, at least like conservative publications, and a lot of people don't realize a lot of that stems from Leon Trotsky, going back to the old Soviet Union and the, original Marxist, theories. And
right.
That's, I think, what they're trying to do. They're trying to slowly indoctrinate these children to, believe in Marxism, believe in communism. I mean, if you go back to the Soviet Union, they were worse than Nazi Germany was as far as, discriminatory practices, murdering Christians and Jews. It's sickening. And I'm a homeschooler. Me and my wife have been homeschooling our kids for going on 8 years now. And I refuse to, ever send them back to public school.
Well, is there any financial incentive, John? Let me ask you. You're in Maine, so it might be a bit different up there. But is there any financial incentive to homeschooling your children?
No, not really. I mean, because if you own a house, I rent right now. So if you own a house, you're still paying the school through your property taxes. So if anything, you're paying more because you're going to end up buying your curriculum if you purchase. But there are a lot of free programs out there. There's Ron Paul has a curriculum out there. There's a lot of really great Christian faith-based programs out there. And we've gotten a lot of our curriculum for free from, through people that were giving it away or, seeing it at a yard sale. You can pick and choose what you want to teach them. You let them kind of pick their subjects for the day. They're learning all their subjects, but you kind of work on their strengths and then, kind of get to the weaknesses later, try to propel them. And I mean, my kids thrive. I mean, my oldest didn't really care for public school. And, now that he's getting older, he kind of wants to, go back again, but it's like, it's best to just not go back in and get into more like after school type.
Well, that's great to hear. I'm glad you're doing that. I hope there's more parents out there like you, and I'm sure that number is growing every day. And just reading this NEA agenda, they're trying to make the school more of the household. Not in that it's a more welcoming place and a more loving place, but they're trying to any need that a student has, no matter how small, is met by that school. They have not made a distinction. They have not drawn a line where teaching should stop and parenting should begin. Psychologists, guidance counselors, and so many other facets of what is now the modern public education system in America. They want to grow that. And again, we'll continue to get into this after the break, but I've got to hold everybody right there. 844-500-4242. Again, we'll discuss a lot more of this in the actual agenda of the National Education Association, the largest union in America, and of course the teachers union that many of the unions across the nation are tied into. We'll be right back. A lot more to come here on the Howie Carr Show. I'm Taylor Cormier filling in. Don't go anywhere.
Hello, New England. Incredibly bad Christopher Walken impersonator here. And my lady and I are back, baby, back in the free world, breathing the free air, looking for some cheap thrills. Now, we could go down to the Fenway, but a day there costs more than my first Buick. Or we could go fishing with Captain Marciano, but we might come back with an embarrassing tattoo. Again, even if I drop in on my old pal, Howie Carr, that's gonna cost me large, and he don't do Groupon. Thankfully, we still have our pals at Matthews Brothers, and they too are back, baby, back, doing their free manufacturing tours. Sign up online and witness wicked awesomeness for yourself, and who knows, you might be inspired to become part of the team. At the very least, you get yourself a cool magnetic bumper sticker. You can learn more about their wicked awesome windows and doors, but only at Better Lumberyards and Window Professionals, or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. That's Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
They're outlandish, they're outrageous, and they're hypocrites. They're the women of The View.
Bernie was so menschy in that moment, like a real guy. I actually am aroused by him.
Timothy McVeigh was a Christian. Just saying.
Hitler was a Christian.
Well, he didn't like the Catholics.
Trump needs to be medicated and hospitalized at this point, or he is going to just kill all of us.
I mean, do we have to wait till the hammer and sickle is on the American flag before we stand up to this guy?
Joy, you've worn blackface.
I did not go in blackface, please.
No, she was not in blackface.
Thank you.
It was a Halloween party. I went as a beautiful African woman.
Did you have tanning lotion on,
A
Joy?
little. I had makeup that was a little bit darker than my skin.
I'm hoping Dr. Jill becomes a Surgeon General. She's a hell of a doctor.
Whoopi, you said that Roman Polanski, it wasn't rape.
I know it wasn't rape.
Child molest, maybe? I'm not sure.
It was something. It was something else, but I don't believe it was rape.
And now a namaste moment with Chris Cuomo.
Hope with me that today Dr. King's example inspires the many striving for better and enlightens the toxic few determined to be their worst.
You're going to have a problem. What are you going to do about it?
I'll ruin your
I'll throw you down these stairs like a punk.
We could not have a better reminder that you can't kill an idea with violence.
And I don't want some jackass, loser, fat tire biker to be able to pull over and get in my face and in my space.
And that violence can be used as a refuge for those coming from a place of animus and ignorance.
What's the best way to handle it? You just ignore it.
Naked choke?
Just ignore
Punch
it.
to the sternum? As Dr. King taught us, darkness can only be removed by the light of truth. And love is the ultimate form of truth.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
Delaware Senator Joe Biden at an event on the Hill gently ribbing his Senate colleague before absolutely going to town on an ice cream cone.
President Biden is a big ice cream fan. So does that giant freezer full of ice cream really exist?
Mr. Biden, what flavor did you get? We got one vanilla, one chocolate, but I wanted to get what we call black and white. I like to think of it as Joe Biden's, his default mode.
What is your message to Republicans who are prepared to block the January 6th commission?
Eat some chocolate. Yeah. He'd be known for two things. My Ray-Bans and ice cream.
What's the thing about the ice cream? He loves ice cream. Tell me about that.
Well, listen, ice cream is big. Chocolate chip. Oh, yeah. Get that man a cone.
What impact do you think Russian interference had in the election?
I think it was one of the major contributors to the outcome.
Years from the 2016 election, and Hillary Clinton still can't accept the results. Take a listen.
You know, you can run the best campaign. You can be the person who gets the nomination. You could lose. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
The one thing that Trump
is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was. This wasn't on the level. Flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them.
It's like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado.
So maybe there does need to be a rematch. I mean, obviously, I can beat him again.
So of course he's obsessed with me.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
I'm kind of the Grinch when it comes to almost any private event of any kind. The guy who stole Thanksgiving, the guy who stole Christmas, the guy who stole New Year's, the guy who stole every holiday you can think of. As we head into yet another holiday weekend in our back-to-school season, people really need to wear face coverings, not share food, not share drink, and take this stuff seriously. If you have a friend or a neighbor who's been traveling out of state, you're probably better off not watching the Patriots game on Sunday with them. Then a whole bunch of people say to me, why don't you just cancel Halloween? Outdoor trick-or-treating, done with small groups, face coverings, and limited interaction is actually a lot safer. Made everybody build, chutes for candy for Halloween. I actually built one myself. I thought it was pretty cool. Thought I might spend a minute talking about Thanksgiving, but there's just no way around it. The holidays have to look and feel different this year. Don't share food or drink. And if necessary, open windows to allow for ventilation.
If you wake up in the morning feeling stiff, then you need Balance 7. Balance 7 has helped me with all my aches and discomfort. I've been using Balance 7 for months now, and I wish I'd learned about it years ago. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. Often I'm asked to try products and can be very skeptical of claims. But with Balance 7, everything I was told turned out to be 100% true. If you've been holding off, don't wait any longer. The mailroom manager loves it for energy, and my daughter Charlotte takes it before bed to help her sleep. When I take Balance 7, I don't feel my energy fading as the day wears on. I have a jug at the studio and another jug at home. Balance 7 reduces the acids that build up in your body over time. All you have to do is drink a small shot of the liquid 3 times a day, and you will feel the difference in 24 hours. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or joint discomfort, then give Balance 7 a try. Go to balance7.com and put in code Howie for free shipping. That's balance7.com, code word Howie.
200 moms, dads, sons, daughters, grandparents who are no longer with us. I think it's up to 30,000 people have died. Over 600,000 dead, 600 plus thousand people.
60,000.
660. We're in the middle of a pandemic that had cost us more than 85,000 jobs, lives of millions of people. And now we have over 120 million dead from COVID. 200 million people have died. 205 million people, 1,000 people. 210,000 people have died. 4 million existing billion. 500,000. 50,000. A class.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
What would happen if after 9/11 we had done nothing? And to me, January 6th was worse than 9/11.
The world! And they are the greatest disinformation group of people ever in the world.
They lie to everybody. They lie to the fish.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
A lot of people ask me about Dr. Fauci. I like Dr. Fauci, but they said, why didn't you fire him? I said, no, he was good. He'd recommend something. I'd do the opposite, and we always turned out to be right.
Yes. I will do the opposite. I used to sit here and do nothing and regret it for the rest of the day. So now I will do the opposite, and I will do something.
Big tech is out of control. They banned the sitting president of the United States, a ban that continues to this day.
People can also be forgiven. What happened to that? What happened? It feels very Soviet kind of sometimes.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
So the NEA, the National Education Association, is telling you that critical race theory isn't real. It's a myth. It's like Bigfoot. It's like the Loch Ness Monster. Here's a headline. Just came across on my Twitter feed. Black mom sues school after she says biracial son received failing grade in sociology class for refusing to confess his, quote, white dominance. Let's see if we can find some more information on that. But This is the Howie Carr Show. I'm Taylor Cormier, Howie's executive producer, filling in for the big guy. I don't mean Joe Biden, and we do have Joe Biden sound that we'll be getting to on later in the show. I won't bog you down with it right now. Maybe we'll do it in the 6 o'clock hour as a nice levity-filled segment. But I did want to get to the National Education Association's agenda. This was posted on their website. Anybody can access it. But if you go through it, it's quite clear how radical the NEA has become in today's woke age. A lot of Black Lives Matter in here, a lot of critical race theory, a lot of anti-police rhetoric, a lot more inclusion and preferential hiring. This is, I'm just going to read this to you, point by point here. I won't go through the whole thing, but I've highlighted the big parts. National Education Association, this is under the new business item A, awaiting debate. National Education Association, in coordination with national partners, NEA, state and local affiliates, racial justice advocates, allies, and community activists, shall build powerful education communities and continue our work together to eradicate institutional racism in our public school system by, number one, establishing a task force that identifies the criteria for safe, just, and equitable schools, including exploring the role of law enforcement in education. The task force will, and these are the bullet points underneath this, create a clear vision for the NEA on what must be included to create safe, just, and equitable schools for all students. Now, there's a caveat to that here under the next bullet point. Craft an association-wide plan. This is a nationwide, under-the-union plan in consultation with leaders of current police-free school movements, as well as successful police-free schools legislation across the country. Those SROs that are in your kid's school right now making sure that they're safe, they want to get rid of them. That's what I gather from this. They want to craft an association-wide plan in consultation with leaders of current police-free school movements, as well as successful police-free schools legislation across the country. A police-free school only works until you need a police school. Right? It's the only thing that stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Howie says it all the time. When seconds count, the police are minutes away. Well, this is where you have somebody on staff at all times during school hours. At least one. I know in our school district back home, that was standard practice. Very necessary. But they want to get rid of that. No police. Defund the police in the schools. They also want to compile current data that documents the criminalization of Native students and students of color, the disparities in appropriate staffing with mental health professionals and caring educators, and provide analysis comparing the impact of on-site or community-based programs and personnel with the use of law enforcement on campuses. Mark my words, before long, it's going to be mandatory for your kid to meet with a therapist on school grounds. It might be a once-a-month checkup, but it will be mandated. Number two, under their task force creed, supporting and leading campaigns that reallocate funding and provide students with school-based, non-privatized, non-outsourced services to meet their social, emotional, and mental health needs by achieving robust staffing levels, including appropriate class sizes. I can't argue with that. Appropriate class sizes. We all want smaller class sizes for our kids, including access to electives, art, librarians, and ESPs. Extrasensory perceptions.
It's getting a little crazy now. I mean,
that's a good skill to have. If you're anybody, you read other people's thoughts, communicate with others telepathically. I think that's great. We're going to be incorporating that.
What card am I holding up?
Well, you know all the answers to the test because you can see the teacher's answer sheet, and including appropriate higher ed staffing levels and providing all school employees with professional development around cultural responsiveness, implicit bias, anti-racism, trauma-informed practices. I don't know, half of this stuff, I don't know what the hell it means. I'm sure nobody out there does either. Restorative justice practices and other racial justice trainings, training educators to lead on equity and racial justice. You see how embossed this is going to be? Hiring school-based mental health providers, appropriate services such as school counselors, nurses, social workers, drug and alcohol counselors, and psychologists, and utilizing trauma-informed restorative justice practices, meditation peace centers, great, okay, meditation centers in the schools, and other proven methods to address student health and well-being. Oh, we've got a serious problem on our hands. More and more, it's becoming the norm to treat children like they're full-fledged, full-grown adults. Children do not have the problems of adults. They don't have the complexities of adults. We don't need to thrust upon them the complexities and the problems of adults. When you were growing up, Jared, what did somebody older than you always used to say to you? I'm sure you've got ESP. You know what I'm thinking.
Because I said so.
Other than that, they would tell you, enjoy it, kid. Don't grow up. It's terrible. I always heard that. Don't grow up. And
enjoy it while you can.
And what's when you get older, what's the response? Boy, I should have listened to those guys. I love being an adult. I love being able to do adult things, but I miss the freedoms of being a child. You didn't have all the responsibility that you have. I'm sure all of us would love to have just a taste of what that's like again. But instead of taking our children and letting them enjoy that and letting them savor that, we want them to experience all the troubles that adults have, even if they don't have them. Having a psychologist in your child's school, if they're in middle school, and if they're mandated to visit once a month, guess what? That psychologist, that psychiatrist, whatever it is going to find something to talk about with them and try to get down to a root cause. Oh, why do you think you chew your fingernails? Why do you think you toss the eraser at Bobby in class? That's what kids do. Kids do stupid stuff. They want to clown around in class? Okay. There's a certain amount of discipline that needs to take place in schools. That's being meted out as well. There's no discipline in the classroom. I used to cover this stuff when I was in my former life as a news reporter back in New Bedford. You go to all these school committee meetings and you hear the horror stories from the public comment periods from parents. Also, here's another one on the NEA agenda. Win transformative investments for racially just schools that include addressing the academic, social, and emotional needs of every student through their entire educational journey. If your school is less racist than the next, they're going to reward you. They're going to give you a grant. How fun is that? The more woke your school is, the more money you get. They're changing the saying. You say you go woke, you get broke. What's the new? What rhymes with woke that we can stick in there? Get woke. Go for broke. I don't know. Get money. That's what they want here. Seek remedy to economic justice issues, including, but not limited to, affordable housing, housing insecurity, food insecurity, and access to health care and child care. They want to dig their claws into your family and never, ever let go. This is sick stuff. I haven't even gotten to the critical race theory of it all. This is sick, disgusting overreach by the teachers at National Educators Association. Unbelievable. 844-500-4242. We'll get to your calls and the critical race theory of it all coming up after the break. I'm Taylor Cormier, filling in for Howie Carr. This is the Howie Carr Show.
Did you miss part of today's show?
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
Just search Howie Carr on your favorite podcast app and listen anywhere, anytime.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Fun Spot, the largest arcade in the world. Located in Laconia, New Hampshire, Fun Spot is open every day for family fun. That's funspotnh.com.
The election is behind us, and what happens next is anyone's guess. Most agree, though, that taxes will be going up in the future. Is your portfolio ready? Kevin Frisbee and the team at Frisbee & Associates want you to be sure.
If you want to come in and take advantage of that free consultation, we're going to have the 100-100 challenge. So if you have at least $100,000 in an investment account with somebody else, and you go through our processes, no obligation, you're going to be able to get a $100 bill. You could leave our office with that $100 bill, and we're going to do the comparison, and we're going to send you on your way, and then you could circle back around if you wanted to.
Call now for your no-cost, no-obligation consultation, and you could walk out with $100 cash. That's right, $100 cash. Call 800-989-9100, 800-989-9100. And be sure and catch Kevin on the Howie Carr radio program every Thursday afternoon for market reviews and tips on creating the retirement of your dreams. Call Kevin Frisbee today at 800-989-9100, 800-989-9100.
Jane Swift is an embarrassment to working mothers everywhere.
Howie Carr, Boston Herald columnist and radio hitman.
She rushed home the night before Thanksgiving. What is the worst night of the year to drive? Worst of all, she goes on TV after the story broke, and she says,
"My challenges to be a good mother and a good lieutenant governor are different than any other working person."
But given the nature of Boston politics, using a state helicopter is not among the worst offenses politicians have committed.
Compared to putting a blonde in the pond.
Howie Carr's delicate description of Chappaquiddick.
Politics around here ain't beanbag. You know, if you step into the arena, you've got to stand by and prepare for a beating.
A lot of us are going to be on the move again this summer. So my advice to you, take your Raycons with you. Whether you're working out to a pumped-up playlist or listening to a podcast on your commute, a pair of Raycon wireless earbuds in your ears can make all the difference. With Raycon, you get crisp, powerful beats at half the price of other premium audio brands. Their wireless earbuds look great and feel even better. They come in a range of cool colors with customizable gel tips for a comfortable in-ear fit. Raycons are built to go wherever you go with quick and seamless Bluetooth pairing and a compact charging case. And with a 24-hour battery life, they're a must-have for your daily grind, all day, every day. Raycon has a 45-day happiness guarantee, so give them a try. You'll be surprised you ever went anywhere without them. That's buyraycon.com/Howie, buyraycon.com/Howie, buyraycon.com/Howie.
Here's 1 minute with Governor
Charlie Parker in Massachusetts.
I'd certainly put myself on that list. I'm a basketball player. I always was. There's a lot at stake here. This is not a virus to be trifled with or disrespected. Respect the virus. I have a hard time understanding when we're going to be able to play basketball again. We can start talking about a gradual, careful, data-driven, phased reopening. Don't let a few nice days step on that. I need to talk to the Attorney General and find out what the actual parameters of the ruling are. Did this just happen? And the reason I read that story is because I'm a basketball player and I agree. I was first made aware of the discrepancy on this on the day that the registrar resigned. The vast majority, and I mean like the vast majority of the people who are part of these protests are there to make a point and to make it peacefully. That is so obvious, I'm amazed that anybody could say anything other than that. I would love to be able to open everything up tomorrow. That would be an incredibly irresponsible thing to do.
He didn't come here to be made sport of.
Funny how? I mean, funny like I'm a clown, I amuse you, I make you laugh? What do you mean funny? Funny how? How am I funny?
Howie Carr is here to stay.
844-500-4242. Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show. Today's poll question is brought to you by Goldco. Stagflation is making a comeback. Go to goldco.com/Howie Carr and request your free IRS loophole guide. Learn how you can protect your wealth and take control of your retirement. That's goldco.com/Howie Carr. Jared, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will President Trump's lawsuit overturn his ban from social media?
So he's not allowed on Twitter, he's not allowed on Facebook, and he's not allowed on Instagram because Facebook owns Instagram, right?
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think they do. So those are the three. And of course, he's going against Google because they suppress information, allegedly. But no, I don't think it'll be overturned.
39% of the audience says yes, it will be. 61% say no.
That's encouraging. That number's growing, but we'll have to wait and see. And we'll get to all the sound from that as well. It was a fun press conference. Let's go to the phone lines, 844-500-4242. Tim, you're next on the Howie Carr Show. Go ahead, Tim.
Taylor, so I think what the National Teachers Association or whatever they're called, that big union there?
Yeah.
What they didn't anticipate is, like you had said earlier, a lot of us parents were not involved in our kids' education. You kind of went with the flow and got aggravated about things.
Well, you expected 2 + 2 is 4. That's blue. A, B, C. I mean, what? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That's it, right?
It's gonna, yes, and it's backlashing against them because I'm getting involved. My brother's involved. I have friends who have never been involved that were just sickened with the way things are going. People are paying much more attention because of people like you and Howie and others and Grace talking about these issues. We had no clue this was happening, but the reason we don't have a clue is they don't present it as we're going to do critical race theory. What they present it as, we're going to educate your kids about equity. They always change the definition or they change the way they would describe it, but in the end, that's exactly what they're doing. So I'm looking forward to getting fully involved and locking horns with these people and basically telling them it's not going to happen. And we can vote the school committees out of office. We have ways to address this issue.
Yeah, this is not being well played, and obviously the NEA is closely tied with the Democratic Socialist Party, and they're going to get beat up over this. And I hope there's more parents out there like you, Tim. Again, that's what education was supposed to be. You go to school, you learn the fundamentals, equity and racial inequality. Teaching that your child that there's racial inequality in every single facet of life and civilization, that is not what I put my kids through school to learn. Not yet. My son's only 10 months old, but that was not what my parents put me through school to learn. 844-500-4242. John, you're next on the Howie Carr Show. Go ahead, John.
How are you doing, Taylor? Thank you so much for answering my call, and God bless you and this station for getting this out to all Americans. Number one, I haven't heard the word sacrifice from many parents. I know there's a few out there, but sacrifice is what's needed, okay? My wife and I, when I got home from Nam in the 70s, we both worked 2 jobs, and my son went to private school. We drove him 3 towns over because there was no way to get there. So, you know what? America isn't dead. We just need to wake up. Thank you very much.
You bring up a good point, John. Thank you very much for the call. My father always told me, I work hard so that you can live a better life, that you can have it better than what I had when I was growing up. And I certainly did, and I appreciate that from both of my parents. But now here we are. I'm of a generation that's reaping the benefits of my parents' hard work. They put me through school so that I could get a better education, that I could work better jobs, that I could have a great career. They did all that for me, and I'm going to do that for my child as well. But now that there are some people that may have had parents that didn't invest that much in them, they're crying inequality because they see other people reaping the benefits of what their parents invested in them, and now they are feeling left out. So they have to bring everybody else down in order to feel, vindicated, in order to feel like an equal. They are equal. I'm sure they have had the same opportunities in many cases where they have, been able to advance themselves. But knocking down people and telling everybody that there's racism and roadblocks that you cannot overcome unless you take down the foundation of the institution, that's no way to go through life, victimizing yourself. Dave, you're next on the Howie Carr Show. Go ahead, Dave.
Hi, I'm in Ohio, and John's last point about getting your kids out of public schools is not the answer, because yesterday I saw about a 20-minute segment on a private school in Columbus, Ohio, where that whole school is woke, and you've got a couple of brave moms standing up against that. But here, where I'm a newbie in town, I've just been to a public school meeting, a school committee meeting for this district, where they presented a equity audit by a lady whose website is alberryconsulting.com. I want you to look at that, and you'll see it's full of racism, reverse racism.
All right. Thanks. Yeah, thanks very much for the call. I'll have to take a look at that during the break. But you've got to be very careful where you send your kids. You've got to be a very involved parent and take a look at the curriculums, what the child is going to be learning. There are woke private schools out there, but there are unwoke private schools too. We'll be back after the break. I'm Taylor Cormier, filling in for Howie Carr. This is the Howie Carr Show.
Dr. Chris Hines of DiStefano Hair Restoration has been overwhelmed and thrilled by his clients' response to his platelet-rich plasma therapy offer. Therefore, this amazing deal will continue to be offered through the end of August. Act now and save $2,000 on PRP therapy. PRP stands for platelet-rich plasma therapy. It's an easy way to get quick hair growth. Dr. Hines will take your own plasma and apply the treatment where hair growth is desired. This is a fast, safe, and affordable method of hair restoration. PRP is truly remarkable and has been used in medicine to promote growth and healing throughout the body. DiStefano Hair Restoration is offering 2 free booster sessions when you sign up for PRP. This is a huge savings. I often hear from listeners that they wish that they had gone to DiStefano Hair Restoration sooner. You may have been procrastinating too. Wait no more. This is the best offer you'll get all year. Go to hairman.com and look at my before and after pictures. Stop putting it off and get the hair you deserve. That's hairman.com.
Good evening, my fellow Americans. Tonight, I'd like to talk to you about the resources of the American Rescue Plan, and we need it urgently. You and your family could travel coast to coast without a single tank of gas on board a high-speed train. Dogs may help cure cancer. Not a joke. Risk more cases and more deaths. Now, when President Harris and I took tailoring combat uniforms for women, creating maternity flight suits, we need to prevent the supply chain crisis from hitting in the first place. These millstones no longer mark our national mourning. These milestones, I should say, no longer mark our national mourning. Dr. Fauci assured me that COVID-19 vaccines were safe. We owe you an incredible debt. I've said for many years. Okay, where am I here? Let me see. I don't know. To be clear.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair, so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
Why am I the first Kinnick in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university?
Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college?
Why is Glennis the first
woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get the university.
No, it's not because they weren't as smart.
Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent?
It's not because they didn't work as hard.
Or the strength, or the endurance, or the commitment. Of course not.
It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
I should have said, to paraphrase Neil Kinnock, it's the only time I didn't, and all the times I've ever used it.
Come on, man.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love, and to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some jack loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it. Right here is the official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony! Hey, this guy's a great big phony!
Cleared by CDC, a little sweaty, just worked out.
Oh my. Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show. I just want to wrap up the critical race theory in the NEA agenda. This is the National Education Association. We've gone through, they don't want police, they want more services for your child. They want to take the home out of the home and put it into the school so that you're just feeding the kid when they come home. That's your only job, is to make sure they're fed when they come home. Other than that, the school is going to raise your child. But this is, again, what the NEA wants to do. They want to result in increasing the implementation of culturally responsive education, critical race theory, and ethnic, Middle Eastern, and North African and Pacific Islander studies curriculum in pre-K through 12, pre-K through 12 in higher education. So there it is, critical race theory. It gets worse. So this is, again, a new business item number 39. They're waiting on cost analysis of what this critical race theory is going to entail. But the NEA will, with guidance on implementation from the NEA president and chairs of the Ethnic Minority Affairs Caucuses, share and publicize through existing channels the repository of information on critical race theory already planned, what it is and what it is not, and have a team of staffers for members who want to learn more, fight back against anti-CRT rhetoric, and share information with other NEA members as well as their community members. My question is, where was everybody when all these discussions were going on? Were these all closed-door discussions? Did we just not hear about this? I've heard about critical race theory for a few months now, but it must have been something talked about behind closed doors as it regards to the NEA, because this seems like it was sprung upon the teachers throughout America. And many of them are revolting, as we read earlier in Issues and Insights, and trying to take a stand against this. They also want to provide already created in-depth study that critiques empire, white supremacy, anti-blackness, anti-indigeneity, racism, patriarchy, cis-heteropatriarchy. I love that one. Cis-hetero. I'm a cis-hetero patriarchal figure. A white cis-hetero patriarchal figure.
Well, that was implied.
Capitalism, ableism, anthropocentrism, I don't even know what that is, and other forms of power and oppression at the intersections of our society. And that we oppose attempts to ban critical race theory and/or the 1619 Project. It gets better. Publicly, through existing media, convey its support for the accurate and honest teaching of social studies topics, including truthful and age-appropriate accountings of unpleasant aspects of American history, such as slavery and the oppression and discrimination of indigenous, black, brown, and other peoples of color, as well as the continued impact this history has on our current society. There's the money quote. There it is. Because slavery, oppression, and discrimination of indigenous, black, brown, and other peoples of color are taught in public schools. I learned about slavery. I learned about the enslavement and the forced labor of different races, building the Transcontinental Railroad. Learned about all of that. It happened. It does not go on anymore, and it is not indelibly etched into the foundation of capitalism. The association will further convey that in teaching these topics, it is reasonable and appropriate for curriculum to be informed by academic frameworks for understanding and interpreting the impact of the past on current society, including critical race theory. And here is the coup de grace. We will join with Black Lives Matter at School, the Zinn Education Project, to call for a rally this year on October 14th, George Floyd's birthday, as a national day of action to teach lessons about structural racism and oppression, even in places where it is illegal and requires civil disobedience. They want the kids to riot now? Are they going to be looting Targets and Walgreens? And are we going to let them loot liquor stores? I don't think anybody would be in support of that. The National Education Association shall publicize these national days of action to all its members, including in the NEA today. There's your agenda. That's where public education is going in this country. It's a sad state of affairs, and they stand behind it. Again, we played the cut earlier of Randy Weingarten talking about critical race theory and how it's not taught in schools. They certainly want it to be taught in schools, and it has leaked in there. But here she is saying that the union is going to stand behind any teacher who's going to teach not history, but the right kind of history. This is cut 8.
Mark my words.
Ooh.
Our union will defend any member who gets in trouble for teaching honest history. We have a legal defense fund ready to go, and we are preparing for litigation as we speak.
Are they to say what honest history is? What is it? It's not like Howie's honest history. That's a different kind of honest history. That is tongue-in-cheek history. Honest history. That reeks of Orwellianism. 844-500-4242. David, you're next on the Howie Carr Show. Go ahead, David.
Hey, Taylor, great show.
Thank you.
Boy, the NEA's come a long ways since 1947. I happen to have a hardbound copy of their annual report, and I read the whole thing, but, just thumbing through it, I come across this paragraph about how children must be gotten out of the home at the earliest age possible because that's where they learn dangerous things like familial relations.
Oh, boy.
Patriotism and nationalism. So they've been working on this for a long time.
Yeah, that's scary. I'd like to see a copy of that. Where can one obtain that?
Well, Grace mentioned something today about students being told not to tell their parents about what's going on with, being taught critical race theory.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell your parents. Who else tells you to keep a secret?
Right. It's so sad. It really is. It's so sad that this is the state of affairs we find ourselves in. And because we expected, at least this is the way I see it, we expected our schools to be teaching our children the fundamentals. Again, the ABCs, red, blue, white. Well, not those three colors together because it's racist, red, white, and blue. But the colors, in the early elementary ages, all of those basics. You move on up into middle school, proper grammar and reading and comprehension, critical thinking, and you move on up in algebra, calculus, geometry, sociology, social studies, all of that. That's fine. Civics should be a lot bigger than what it is. It's very disheartening, especially to myself as a young parent, left wondering where we're going to be in another 5 years, 4 or 5 years. Tom, you're next on the Howie Carr Show. Go ahead, Tom.
Hey, Taylor, thank you for taking my call.
Sure.
I happen to have a daughter-in-law who lives in Colorado with a 9-year-old, 5 kids, and then one is 2 years old. Anyway, she homeschools now.
Mm-hmm.
And the Colorado public school system is going to be teaching anatomy education.
Oh, boy.
As low as the first grade. And, of course, they're going to be talking about erections and masturbation.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is anatomy education anything like sex education?
You know what? It's not necessarily portrayed that way, but...
Oh, of course not.
I made the prediction on my Facebook page in 2012 that you are going to see a gradual normalization coming from academia of relaxing societal norms with regards to age of consent laws.
Yeah, there's a lot of desensitization that goes on. I've seen it. People I know that are close to me, they've seen it in the schools as well. They try to normalize the talk. Again, that's another claw into your family, taking that away from the parents. To me, that's a parent's job to teach the kids about the birds and the bees, what they want them to know, what they don't want them to know. That's best left up to their judgment, not the schools. It is different for every child, and any teacher can tell you, any parent can tell you for that matter, children age differently. They develop differently. They can comprehend things at different ages that other children can't, or other children can. It's different for every child. That's why I think smaller classrooms are much more needed. And I was very much in support of neighborhood schools, pocket schools, charter schools back in my hometown, because you got those smaller classroom sizes. You got those one-on-one interactions with the teacher and the student much more readily. John, you're next on the Howie Carr Show. Go ahead, John.
Good afternoon, Taylor. I appreciated your comments about homeschooling when the program began. I'm a retired 30-year Massachusetts public school classroom teacher, and based on what I saw in my career, my wife and I opted to homeschool our children. They never as much as got to kindergarten. And I have to tell you, as we look back on it, they're all grown up now, but as we look back on it, it was the best 15 years of this family's life, even though to do it, we had to give up 50% of our income, and which meant giving up vacations and giving up restaurants and gym memberships and all the rest of it. But I just wanted to tell you very briefly that my colleagues used to tease me, and because we were sort of pioneers around here in that movement. I now live in central Massachusetts, but I grew up in Brockton, so I know New Bedford very well.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they used to tease me, and I just didn't have much to say. But as at the end of the day, my daughter, who was our superstar, she graduated summa cum laude. She's a member of Phi Beta Kappa at Amherst College. She picked up a master's and a PhD from Harvard, which I'm not overly thrilled with personally, but she worked like hell to do it. And the boy was Massachusetts Division II cross-country state champ in 2009. He was appointed to the Naval Academy.
Oh, you must have had a big yard.
We do, actually. We live out in the country. And the other thing is they did play baseball and softball and everything else for the local schools, which was okay with the schools because, after all, we pay our taxes too. But between the three of them, the boy, he got out of 5 years of the Coast Guard recently, and he just picked up a degree in nursing at George Washington University 2 weeks ago.
Awesome. Congratulations.
But anyway, between the three of them, they have 7 college degrees, and another one is closing in on it. So I want to just tell your listeners, if you're willing to make the sacrifices, if you have to, I can't say enough about homeschooling. It made our family the best thing of my. I'm going to be 80 years old shortly, and it was the best time of my whole life.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. That's very encouraging, John. Thank you so much for sharing that. A lot of people need to hear that, especially young parents like myself, that it does work, and it does work at home, and it can be very successful. Thanks very much. 844-500-4242. We'll take a break. We'll be right back with more of your calls. I'm Taylor Cormier, filling in for Howie Carr. This is The Howie Carr Show.
He's making talk radio great again. He's Howie Carr.
This hour of The Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by the 110 Grill in South Bay and Providence. Back open now. Visit them and mention Howie, and you will get one of my autographed books.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
Summer has arrived, and that means we are headed to the Cape.
Yes, to Cape Gun Works in Hyannis this Friday, and we will be there broadcasting live from 12 to 6.
Don't forget, 1 free book per listener and a free raffle for our in-studio VIP experience.
You can sign up for classes, take a look at their gun range, or just shop around and see all they have to offer.
I've taken their classes, and they're fantastic.
I plan on being there a lot this summer, shooting at the range and just having some fun.
Howie, do you think there's any chance I can try out their flamethrower?
Maybe, but I'd prefer to keep my hair just the way it is, so I'll keep my distance.
On the road again.
Make sure you come by and see us, and we will have some fun this Friday at Cape Gun Works in Hyannis from 12 to 6.
And I can't wait to get on the road again.
Which 2 words best describe the Biden administration?
Well, I feel, you know, families should be, the rapidly rising, in with I don't know.
First, any specific.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day, once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just 1 scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
What deal can we have, Crazy Nancy?
The Constitution does not say that a person can shout wolf in a crowded theater.
But to be clear, you're not taking any arrows out of your quiver. You're not ruling anything out.
Good morning. Sunday morning. Chocolate candy, chocolate, and then we have some other chocolate here. Consistently practice social distancing.
Why does AOC complain that you have not been grooming younger people for leadership?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her.
That was kind of sharp.
I'm not a big needle taker. I mean, I had a hard time getting my ears pierced. I'm not a big needle taker. I mean,
Mother Earth is angry. She's telling us.
What do you think is causing this erratic behavior?
I think that the president has always had erratic behavior. I have ice cream in my freezer. I guess that's better than having Lysol in somebody's lungs.
Civilization as we know it is at stake.
I don't drink, but I'm happy to have ice cream with anybody, anytime.
Every time you turn around, expect to see me. There's one time you'll turn around and I'll be there.
The Howie Carr Show.
Oh boy, Pink Floyd way ahead of their time. 844-500-4242. Joe, you're next on the Howie Carr Show. Go ahead, Joe.
Hey, good afternoon, Taylor. Thanks for taking my call, and
Sure.
great job today.
Thank you.
You asked an open-air question, where does it end in 5 years? What's it going to look like? Well, what it's going to look like is these institutions, college, lower education, all are going to be able to push out 5 more years of activists to be their ground troops for a political means.
Yeah, you know, I always wondered where do these people that get these degrees in gender studies and racial inequity and all of these junk diplomas, where do they go for jobs? And apparently this is it, the NEA. That's where they end up, to indoctrinate our children with the same crap that they paid to learn.
They always scream for more money with these talking blackboards and computer tablets, and they're harvesting geniuses in China working off of little tiny square blackboards. So I don't get it that the answer is not throwing more money at it. The answer is to inspire a child to want to learn.
Right. I've never had a problem with incorporating newer technologies into the classroom, Joe. But when it starts, we take the personality and the understanding and the humanity out of the classrooms, which is a lot of what's going on. We're teaching our children that life is just a structure, and it is a failed structure. It is going to crumble, and their structure, their upbringing may have already crumbled around them, and it's not their fault. And of course, nothing is the child's fault, right? That's you're born into a certain situation as a child. You have no control over that. But they're not being told that they can control their futures. They're being told that they can control other people's futures so that they're not as good and that they don't have as much success that they're due, that they may have earned, that they worked hard for. That's what they're being taught. They're not being taught that they have, what is the autonomy over their own destiny. And that's for them to figure out, whatever your passion is. Passion is another thing that is being taken out. There's no passion that's being taught. Children aren't being taught to pursue what it is they find an interest in. It's all cut and dried, black and white. Here it is on the curriculum. Here it is on the paper. There's no individualism. That's not encouraged because we can't be different from one another. But at the same time, you have to accept everybody for what they are, what they identify as. It's nutty. No wonder we have so many confused people walking around today. We've got the Chump Line coming up, a very special guest at 5:30. Much more coming up on the Howie Carr Show.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
Summer has arrived, and that means we are headed to the Cape.
Yes, to Cape Gun Works in Hyannis this Friday, and we will be there broadcasting live from 12 to 6.
Don't forget, one free book per listener and a free raffle for our in-studio VIP experience.
You could sign up for classes, take a look at their gun range, or just shop around and see all they have to offer.
I've taken their classes, and they're fantastic.
I plan on being there a lot this summer, shooting at the range and just having some fun.
Howie, do you think there's any chance I can try out their flamethrower?
Maybe, but I'd prefer to keep my hair just the way it is, so I'll keep my distance.
On the road again.
Make sure you come by and see us, and we will have some fun this Friday at Cape Gunworks in Hyannis from 12 to 6.
And I can't wait to get on the road again.
Normally, we give Fredo Cuomo a lot of attention, but lately it's Governor Andrew Cuomo who's been grabbing headlines. Let's take a listen to some of his best moments.
You're an essential worker, so go take a job as an essential worker.
But the people aren't hiring because of...
No, there are people hiring. You can get a job as an essential worker. So now you can go to work and you can be an essential worker and you're not going to kill anyone. The number is down because we brought the number down. God did not do that. Fate did not do that. Destiny did not do that. We're not going to make America great again. It was never that great. Because I can all see you're in masterful shape, buff even. It has a very nice floral bouquet. A little I detected lilac, hydrangea, tulips. What does it smell like to you? Tulips, yes. Floral bouquet.
Because if that's who they are, and if they are the extreme conservatives, they have no place in the state of New York.
We have an ethical problem revolving around one of our congressmen, Barney Frank. Well, Barney answered an ad some years back in the newspaper called the Washington Blade. Here's what it said. Exceptionally good-looking, personable, muscular athlete is available. Hot bottom plus large endowment equals a great time, and it's signed Greg.
Well, Barney answered the ad. They had sex. After they had sex a few times, Barney said he decided to hire this fellow, Hot Bottom, as a consultant, and that he was going to try to rehabilitate him. Barney said he paid him $20,000. He neglected to get Hot Bottom's Social Security number, apparently.
But he did come forward and admit he made a mistake in trying to...
His exact words were, "I was suckered." An unfortunate choice of words, I think we all agree.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
If you wake up in the morning feeling stiff, then you need Balance 7. Balance 7 has helped me with all my aches and discomfort. I've been using Balance 7 for months now, and I wish I'd learned about it years ago. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. Often I'm asked to try products and can be very skeptical of claims. But with Balance 7, everything I was told turned out to be 100% true. If you've been holding off, don't wait any longer. The mailroom manager loves it for energy, and my daughter Charlotte takes it before bed to help her sleep. When I take Balance 7, I don't feel my energy fading as the day wears on. I have a jug at the studio and another jug at home. Balance 7 reduces the acids that build up in your body over time. All you have to do is drink a small shot of the liquid 3 times a day, and you will feel the difference in 24 hours. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or joint discomfort, then give Balance 7 a try. Go to balance7.com and put in code Howie for free shipping. That's balance7.com, code word Howie.
We are now, effective today, requiring all counties to close their indoor activities, their indoor operations in the following sectors: restaurants, wineries, tasting rooms. A few weeks ago, I was asked to go to a friend's 50th birthday. I made a bad mistake. Instead of sitting down, I should have stood up.
Stay at home as much as possible. Put those social gatherings on hold, including extra care for Thanksgiving.
Denver's mayor told you to stay home for Thanksgiving, then he got on a flight to go see family out of state.
Some people calling Supervisor Kuehl a hypocrite. Now, on November 24th, she voted to ban outdoor dining, and on the very same day, she was spotted eating out.
I take responsibility for trusting the word of a neighborhood salon that I've been to over the years. As it turns out, it was a setup. So I take responsibility. for falling for a setup. This salon owes me an apology.
What they do.
This is going to sound immodest, but I'm obviously a top-tier candidate. I've had a lot of titles over my career, and certainly vice president will be great. But Mamala will always be the one that means the most. They said, well, do you think Trump is responsible for what happened? And I said, well, look, I mean, obviously he didn't pull the trigger, but he's certainly been tweeting out the ammunition. And that's why do gotta go. What else do we know about this population, 18 through 24? They are stupid. That is why we put them in dormitories.
You know, I'm just gonna engage in real talk. I don't want to waste your time with anything else.
What is your favorite musical genre?
Oh, I mean, I'm hip hop and reggae and jazz. Those are some of my favorites.
Okay.
Have you ever smoked?
I have.
Okay.
And I inhale. I did inhale.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Why you always lying?
I don't think we should ever shake hands ever again, to be honest with you.
Just forget about shaking hands. We don't need to shake hands. We got to break that custom.
Right now, given what we're going through and maybe forever, nobody should be shaking hands. And I mean that.
If you're swiping on a dating app like Tinder or Bumble or Grindr and you match with someone.
If you want to go a little bit more intimate, well, then that's your choice regarding a risk. We may get to the point where I hope it's going to be in the fall where everything is back to normal. The only requirement might be to wear a mask. I hope that next Mother's Day we're going to see a dramatic difference. There's no guarantee that we will have a safe and effective vaccine.
I feel extreme confidence in the safety and the efficacy of this vaccine.
Once the process is complete, does that mean they can take off their mask?
You know, I would recommend that that's not the case. If you're vaccinated and you're outside, put aside your mask. You don't have to wear it. You can trust me.
A lot of us are going to be on the move again this summer. So my advice to you, take your Raycons with you. Whether you're working out to a pumped-up playlist or listening to a podcast on your commute, a pair of Raycon wireless earbuds in your ears can make all the difference. With Raycon, you get crisp, powerful beats at half the price of other premium audio brands. Their wireless earbuds look great and feel even better. They come in a range of cool colors with customizable gel tips for a comfortable in-ear fit. Raycons are built to go wherever you go with quick and seamless Bluetooth pairing and a compact charging case. And with a 24-hour battery life, they're a must-have for your daily grind, all day, every day. Raycon has a 45-day happiness guarantee, so give them a try. You'll be surprised you ever went anywhere without them. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. 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 And now, a minute of wisdom from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Millennials and people and, Gen Z and all these folks that come after us are looking up and we're like, the world is going to end in 12 years if we don't address climate change. And your biggest issue is how are we going to pay for it? And this is the war. This is our World War II.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about...
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
What would happen if after 9/11 we had done nothing? And to me, January 6th was worse than 9/11.
The world! And they are the greatest disinformation group of people ever in the world.
They lie to everybody. They lie to the fish.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
You know, a lot of people ask me about Dr. Fauci. I like Dr. Fauci, but they said, why didn't you fire him? I said, no, he was good. He'd recommend something. I'd do the opposite, and we always turned out to be right.
Yes. I will do the opposite. I used to sit here and do nothing and regret it for the rest of the day. So now I will do the opposite, and I will do something.
Big tech is out of control. They banned the sitting president of the United States, a ban that continues to this day.
People can also be forgiven. What happened to that? What happened? It feels very Soviet, kind of, sometimes.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
Some point, Jared, we've got to get to that Conan O'Brien cut. Out of all the late night talk show hosts, Conan O'Brien never got the respect he deserved. I think he's the greatest that we've had. Now he's gone away. He's pretty much retired from the biz. He does his podcast. He's quite liberal. I've listened to his podcast, and he started getting a little woke, and I really didn't care for it, so I stopped listening. But of all the options that we had, Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Kimmel. Am I leaving anybody out? Those are the big guys in the game. Conan O'Brien was the best. I think because he came out of the writing staff of a lot of these shows through, I believe he was on SNL. He wrote for SNL. He wrote for a lot of these comedy shows, late night comedy shows. So he understood the business. He understood humor, and I'm glad to hear that he's coming around to see that this is getting a little ridiculous. This whole cancel culture thing. So we'll have to play that cut a little bit later in the show. But right now, it is time for the Chump Line.
I hear Biden's going to go door to door now, giving vaccines. Pretty amazing, seeing as he couldn't even go state to state during the election.
Couldn't go state to state, and he can't even go stair to stair. We've seen him going up the steps of Air Force One, right? Boy, that was that video on a loop. Please inject it into my veins.
So Andrew Cuomo says he's going to curb gun violence like he did the COVID-19. What's he going to do? Put it in convalescent homes and kill more people?
Firing squads. As long as it's state oversight and it's a government employee that's carrying out the gun violence, it's okay by Andrew Cuomo. So firing squads is the way we're going to end gun violence. The government is going to take over the gun violence that, regular criminals can't be bothered with. The Chump Line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week celebrating the end of the long national nightmare. Yes, Matthews Brothers is once again open for tours of their wicked awesome manufacturing facility located in the quaint seaside town of Belfast, Maine. Go to MatthewsBrothers.com to sign up.
Russia hacked the RNC? Wait, did Joe forget to add that to his list of 15?
Ooh, that's a good question. Here are 15 critical infrastructures that you can't be hacking. Somehow, I think he forgot to include the Republican National Convention.
Fauci's favorite airline, Delta. His favorite railroad, the Variant Express.
Delta, very good. Nobody ever thought of that until now. That's very good. I don't know, the Variant, I get it. Orient Express. Took me a minute. It took me a minute. Can you say Orient Express anymore? Probably not.
It does not sound woke.
No, it's not very. And they came out with a reboot of that movie just a couple of years ago.
Cancel Agatha Christie.
She should be canceled.
Lovey, not only are we being subjected to Fall River Frank, but Jar Jar Jared is running the boards. Question, what's the difference between Frank Sinatra and Star Trek Wars star William Shatner? William Shatner can actually carry a tune.
Oh, you asked for it, pal.
Nicely done.
Listen, I am not only a Frank Sinatra aficionado, I happen to adore the musical genius that is William Shatner. I'm not talking about your fly-by-night Rocket Man, which I'm sure, is that the one you're pulling up right now, Jared?
Nah, I'm going for Mr. Tambourine Man.
Ooh, yes, sir. Mr.
The
Tambourine
Man.
Yeah, what a great album. Mr. Tambourine Man. The ending is sublime. When you get it queued up, well, let me know.
We'll come back with
All
that.
right.
If a coronavirus witness knocks on a Jehovah's Witnesses' door, can that cause a vortex?
A polar vortex. Climate change will happen. That's hot air meeting cold air. That's a climate change cyclone waiting to happen. Yeah, the Corona's Witnesses and the Jehovah's Witnesses. Are they going to have gang wars? Are they going to have turf wars? Is there going to be a meeting between all of the outreach disciples on, is this going to be a meeting of the five families?
This is like the gang fight scene in Anchorman, with all the networks getting together.
You'll control everything north of Boston. I'll take care of everything south of Newark. What we gotta do?
Biden belongs in a rodeo because he's a horse whisperer.
He called back. I don't know if I can take that every day.
Hi, Joe Biden here. You want to get back to normal? It's a three-letter word. Jabs. Jabs. Jabs.
Very good. Oh, he just does not let up. He doesn't let go. I haven't looked over the cut sheet for Biden yet. Talking a lot about infrastructure. I'm sure he gets to a little bit about COVID-9, American Rescue Plan. Oh, can't wait.
Hunter is so smart that he figured out fondue is the best way to freebase Parmesan cheese.
Wow. Very creative chump line callers today. Very well done.
Come to think of it, AOC does really suffer from PTSD. Only in her case, the letters stand for proving that she's dumb.
The rare non-Limerick from Limerick guy? Wow.
Feels special.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm to feel honored or dishonored, but still, yeah. I mean, switch the letters around. PTSD, PDTS, Donald Trump syndrome, Trump derangement syndrome, any way you want to put it. She's got it.
Come and knock at the door. Biden's waiting for you. Where the vaccines are for hers and hims and theirs and 73 other genders too.
Oh boy. Three's company. A lot of throwbacks on the chump line today.
Representative Andy Kim is donating his blue suit for when he cleaned up the mess at the Capitol. I'm willing to donate the masks that I wore when I made a huge mess in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts as governor.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I don't know if you wore the same mask every day, Governor. If you washed your mask. Nobody wants your mask. Grace had a good poll question earlier today about which items of clothing should be donated to the Smithsonian. I'm going to have to think about that some more. What items should be donated to the Smithsonian?
That was your last chump line message. Thank you for calling Howie Carr, you chump.
Great chump line today, everybody. Thank you so much. It is an honor. The chump line is the voicemail message system of the Howie Carr Show. Call 844-500-4242. Press 2 for the chump line. You can leave your message anytime between the hours of 1 and 4 p.m. on weekdays, and we may or may not play your message this time each weekday. If you called the chump line and you didn't get on the air version of the chump line, you may be on Chopped Chumps, which is the podcast version of the chump line, which is all the chump lines that didn't make the actual chump line. It's the cutting room floor of the chump line calls. So we post that just around 7 o'clock every night. Get it wherever you get your Howie Carr Show podcast. The chump line is brought to you by Matthews Brothers, America's oldest window manufacturer. This week celebrating the end of the long national nightmare. Yes, Matthews Brothers is once again open for the tours of their wicked awesome manufacturing facility located in the quaint seaside town of Belfast, Maine. Go to MatthewsBrothers.com to sign up.
If a coronavirus witness knocks on a Jehovah's Witness's door, can that cause a vortex?
That's the age-old question. We will find out soon once the Corona's Witnesses clash with the Jehovah's Witnesses. I'm Taylor Cormier. This is the Howie Carr Show.
Howie Carr will return after this brief commercial break.
For a while, it felt like summer would never come, but now it's here, and like all New Englanders, I love summer. One of my favorite places to visit is the Follansbee Inn on beautiful Kezar Lake in North Sutton, New Hampshire. Just a 90-minute ride from Boston, Follansbee is the perfect getaway. I have been to the Follansbee Inn with my fiance, my sister, my parents. It's a Curly family favorite. There's 17 unique historic guest rooms, each with a private bathroom and air conditioning, are just beautiful. Summer at Follansbee brings swimming in pristine Kezar Lake, exploring with boats and bikes, and there are so many ways to enjoy this oasis. Don't forget my favorite, Follansbee Inn guests start every morning with their exquisite homemade hot breakfast, crafted by owner, chef, and New Orleans native Dennis Swords. Be sure to make your reservation soon before summer passes us by. That's the Follansbee Inn, spelled Follansbee. Go to follansbeeinn.com.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
The first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. hairman.com/Howie.
Joe Biden accuses Trump of being a racist, but if you listen to Biden's comments, you would agree that he doth protest too much.
If you take a test where you're taking cocaine or not, what do you think, huh? Are you a junkie?
The first mainstream African American who is articulate and bright and clean.
And Madam President, we have predators on our streets.
That kid wearing a hoodie may very well be the next poet laureate and not a gangbanger.
They are beyond the pale, many of those people.
God love you. You've been here all day. My Lord, you may feel like you're being incarcerated.
We have no choice but to take them out of society.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro.
They're going to put you all back in chains. Unlike the African American community, with notable exceptions, the Latino community is an incredibly diverse community with incredibly different attitudes about different things. If you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, and you ain't black.
I can still teach you a few, kid. You're just a tin-horn thug and you always will be. You haven't got the guts to be anything else.
The Howie Carr Show.
In the jangle morning. I'll come following you.
Take me on a trip. Oh, we skipped to the end. Wow. You don't get any better than that. That's William Shatner. That's peak William Shatner. What, that album came out in, 68, I think? Somewhere around there, The Transformed Man. Next time at the record store, I've got to look for that one.
Also, very underrated album. Leonard Nimoy sings Mr. Spock's Hits from Outer Space.
Hits from Outer Space, and also he did the Hobbit song, right?
Yes, the Ballad of Bilbo Baggins.
Right.
Because that was necessary.
If you listen to it, you don't know
It's
how you
still
lived
better
your
than
life.
the book.
You don't know how you lived life without it.
Let me sum up The Hobbit for you. There's a bunch of hobbits, and they're looking for a ring. End of book. You don't have to read it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I didn't care for the when they came out with the Hobbit trilogy. It felt very, very geared towards children. I didn't really care for it. But the Transformed Man was a weird concept for Shatner because he fancies himself a very Renaissance man. He took readings from Shakespeare, set them to music, and then he would blend it with, he would transform into a modern pop song. He did Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, Mr. Tambourine Man, a lot of that stuff, kind of hippie-ish music. It's a very interesting listen. I went to see, did you ever see Shatner's one-man show?
Nah, I never had the chance.
He was in New Bedford a few years ago, and I got a ticket. I went, it was the most dull 2 hours of my life. He spent almost half of it talking about his horses. I could not care less about William Shatner, the equestrian.
At least do Horse with No Name by America or something, if you're at that
He
point.
didn't do any singing. There was no song. It was just a one-man show, and to call it a show, it was just him in front of a projector showing us different slides. Really, that's all it was. It was like
this is me feeding Buttercup a sugar cube.
The old comedian Jackie Verne. Here's a slide when we were on vacation. Here we are going through the quicksand. Here's a picture of a bunch of hats in the sand. It was less entertaining than that. All right, the poll question today is brought to you by Goldco. Stagflation is making a comeback. Go to goldco.com/Howie Carr to request your free IRS loophole guide and learn how you can protect your wealth and take control of your retirement. That's goldco.com/Howie Carr. Jared, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will President Trump's lawsuit overturn his ban from social media?
No, I think he's going to be off the traditional social medias for quite some time.
62% of the audience says no, it will not.
It's too bad. I mean, Twitter is always a fun thing to look at, but it's not as fun without the Trumpster on there talking. You could go back and forth. He did go back and forth every now and then with somebody of note, and it was always a good time. There was always a story about Trump's tweets. You woke up and that's the first thing you looked at, Trump's Twitter feed. It was beautiful. FBI seizes Lego set from D.C. riot leader. I could not believe this story when I read it. FBI agents seized a fully constructed U.S. Capitol Lego set. That's how they listed it in the transcript. From the Pennsylvania man indicted last month for his alleged leadership role in the January 6th insurrection, according to court records. Did they think this guy had this set up on a platform in the middle of his room with a bunch of track lights pointed at this thing, and he had, it was like Dr. Strangelove, and he's in the war room, and he's got the little pointer, and he's moving tanks around the Capitol.
Like Doc Brown's model of Main Street with the time machine, Back to the Future.
Exactly, yeah. Here's how the lightning strikes precisely at 12:06. This is ridiculous.
Look at the Hornhead guy. I painted the helmet myself. It's a custom job.
Is this a new Lego kit, destroy your own U.S. Capitol? Prosecutors charged that Robert Morse, 27, directed fellow rioters during one of the most intense and prolonged clashes with law enforcement officers who were seeking to prevent a violent mob from entering the Capitol through doors on the Lower West Terrace. See, the Smoking Gun has a story, and they're setting it up like this guy actually studied the finer architecture of the Capitol, as if this is a completely accurate representation. If you've been to the Capitol, it's pretty close. I doubt that there's a floor plan that comes with this.
Right down to the 2-brick square where there should have only been a 6-brick square.
Oh. By the way, story came out earlier this week. I'm sure we'll do it in Week in Woke tomorrow, saying that Capitol architecture is racist.
Oh,
is this Lego kit now inherently racist?
The Capitol is white in the set.
Yeah, but it houses a bunch of statues of people that glorified slavery.
I hope they took down the Lego statue of that guy from Mississippi nobody's heard of that they want to get rid of.
Well, they want to get rid of several of them. And as one of the Congress people pointed out a couple of weeks ago, they're all Democrats, every single one that they want to get rid of. Morse was wearing tactical gear and a Make America Great Again hat. He allegedly ripped a riot shield from the hands of a Metro Police Department officer, later organized a shield wall that was used to crush officers in the rioters' path. Morse, who graduated from Penn State after serving as an Army Ranger, was indicted last month on 9 criminal counts related to his activities on January 6th. Morse, who recently worked as a substitute teacher, came prepared for violence and then repeatedly led the violent mob, attacking law enforcement officers, according to federal prosecutors. FBI agents who raided Morse's suburban Pittsburgh residence also recovered a fully constructed U.S. Capitol Lego set.
He nefariously put Legos on the floor in case any of the Capitol Police were barefoot.
I used to build car models when I was a kid. I still, to this day, have yet to invade a GM plant. I don't see the connect.
Well, they're on to you now.
Got a great guest coming up. Stay tuned. You're listening to The Howie Carr Show.
Liberty Safe. If you're a gun owner, you know that name because they've worked so hard to earn the title of America's #1 safe. And the area's best Liberty Safe dealer is Dependable Lock in Nashua. They have Liberty Safes in stock now. Keep your guns and other valuables locked up in a Liberty Safe. See the experts at Dependable Lock to learn more and see the full collection. LibertySafeNewHampshire.com. LibertySafeNewHampshire.com.
It's gonna be Subaru Summer. Subaru Summer is going on now. Buy a brand new 2021 Subaru Outback starting at $26,795 with 0% financing for up to 48 months. Equipped with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive, the Outback will instantly be your favorite travel buddy. Buy the 2021 Outback with 0% financing. Details and authorized Subaru retailers at SubaruofNewEngland.com.
I tested positive. Let's use this example of me having it as proof that you can get it too. God forbid, the rest of us should be staying at home for our mothers and the people that we love. And to keep us farther apart will ultimately bring us closer together in this cause. We have to do everything we can to avoid being sick. No matter where the virus goes, the way to stop it will always be the same. Our collective conscientious actions. Staying home. Staying home saves lives. I don't want some loser, fat tire biker get in my face and in my space and talk to me. I don't want to hear it. Right here is the official re-entry from the basement.
You're a phony. Hey, this guy's a great big phony.
Cleared by CDC. A little sweaty. Just worked out.
Oh, my. You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day. Once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just one scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
America, love it or leave it. If you don't have respect in American democracy anymore,
respect my
If you don't respect Madisonian checks and balances, if your guy doesn't win, if that's the new rules of engagement for this great republic, then just leave our country.
I don't know what we're yelling about!
Because you're unworthy of it. And there are millions of immigrants who will come here and raise their right hand and buy into the creed and believe
Loud noises!
that we are exceptional, that believe American democracy is the greatest government on the face of the earth.
Colonel Jessup, did you order the code red?
And they will do it proudly. They will salute the flag proudly. And most importantly, they will fight for what that flag represents. Well, you shame yourself.
Hamlet, Act 3, Scene 1.
You ever noticed how Charlie Baker's becoming very recognizable these days?
I think that the most important thing we need to do at this point in time is recognize the importance of recognizing and understanding, which is why we recognize and understand that in addition to recognizing the investments, and we absolutely recognize and understand that every one of these decisions, folks in law enforcement can incorporate recognizing and understanding issues like that into the way they engage with people, focusing on recognizing spending money, because we recognize that many people in public life recognize or appreciate. Recognizing and understanding that there's more than one way to recognize and understand. We all have to continue to recognize and understand, be smart and recognize and understand, and start thinking about it as a game that recognizes and understands that for people to continue to recognize and understand that.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show. I'm Taylor Cormier, Howie's executive producer, filling in for Howie today. He'll be back tomorrow. We've been talking the show a lot about critical race theory in the classroom. We told you all about the NEA's agenda, and they've laid it out very, very clearly. And we also read to you from Issues and Insights, their call to action for a lot of parents and teachers to stand up to critical race theory, because it is a very, very dangerous way of thinking. And a very dangerous way for the school to involve themselves in your child's life and upbringing. They're really sinking their claws into your child, your most precious commodity, and trying to mold them into what they want them to be. That is not their job, and it's as I said, a very dangerous way of thinking. Joining us now is a parent, is a teacher who's looking to do something about it. His name is Greg Dolan. He's running for Fox Chapel Area School Director in Pennsylvania. Greg, thanks so much for coming on the show today. We greatly appreciate it.
Thank you, Taylor. It's my pleasure to be here.
Sure. So tell us what you're a U.S. history teacher, and what is taught in U.S. history these days that critical race theory doesn't think is doing the job?
Well, whenever I tell people that I'm a U.S. history teacher, the first question I always get is, do you teach the real history? And I say, yes, of course.
Oh, well, do you teach the honest history? That's what Randy Weingarten is saying.
Yes. Yeah. See, I said this morning I was on Fox and Friends this morning talking about the same thing. And when she gets afraid of saying what she calls the truth, and being attacked for it, I've never thought that I need legal defense when I'm speaking the truth. I don't have any qualms about speaking the truth to the students in my classroom and engaging over that. And that truth involves a lot of coming up short in America. In our classroom, we talk about how America's come up short, but we also talk about what it accomplished along the way while it still came up short. That's the story of humanity. That's what humans do. We come up short, but we strive to do better. And that's what America did, and that's what I try and instill in my students to appreciate about this country. And that's what CRT robs us of. Critical race theory robs students of the ability to see that they can do better. It tells them that they're born into a group and they're born a certain way and they just can't get out of it. All they can do is feel bad about it. And teaching shame and victimhood is not right. I prefer to teach knowledge and virtue.
So what periods of history, of U.S. history, do you typically cover?
We do the whole thing. We start with Columbus, and we work our way forward all the way up until the Reagan era is usually about where you can get to before the allure of summer starts to settle in.
So, Columbus, you're already starting off on the wrong foot because you're probably not teaching the children that he, brought death to indigenous people, right?
Right. You talk about the courage of a guy to get on a boat and sail where people didn't know exactly where he was going to end up. The maps literally just thought that it was a quick wraparound over to China, and that's what he was trying to accomplish. But he ended up finding a whole nother side of the world. I talk about a guy with courage. We read about what people thought about him at the time and what he said himself about what he was trying to do. It's very inspiring. Did he do everything that we would want when he got there? No. But he was trying to he came from a certain world, and he tried to live it out as courageously as possible. And there's a lot of nobility in that gets lost when you just boil it down to, here's a bad thing someone did. No one's going to meet that standard ever, Taylor. Never.
So, Greg, the NEA, is there any credence to what they say that our history, our racist, terrible, indigenous slaughtering history, does that still affect us today? Is there any credence to that claim?
Well, it only affects us in the same way that we need to talk about it and we need to know that it happened. I'm hard-pressed to say that the students in my classroom in front of me are in any way guilty or need to apologize to their fellow classmates for what happened in the past. We need to talk about it. We need to address what this country is made up of as a part of its history in full. So we need to talk about the Trail of Tears. We need to talk about how we treated. We live in Western Pennsylvania here in the school district I'm running in. And the Indian Wars were fought right on our frontier here. And we need to talk about how we grappled with those. But we don't need to say that the people today need to carry the sins of their fathers, which is what, to me, critical race theory tries to impose on students.
Is critical race theory already being introduced into the classrooms? It's part of the proposal here from the NEA. They say that it's not being taught in the classrooms yet.
In my school district, we passed a George Floyd resolution last year, 9-0 on our school board, to say that they needed to undertake anti-racism strategies because, quote, implicit and explicit racism was going on in our district. And so I take that as critical race theory is running rampant in our schools. If it's not in every classroom yet, it's going to be soon, and the time to stop it is now by running for school board, and that's what I'm trying to do, is make sure that this poisonous ideology doesn't take hold in our school district. The time to speak up is right when they tell you what they're going to do, not after they've done it.
Part of this proposal here that's on their agenda is to join with Black Lives Matter at School, the Zinn Education Project, call for a rally this year on October 14th, George Floyd's birthday, as a national day of action to teach lessons about structural racism and oppression, even in places where it is illegal and requires civil disobedience. Does that sound to you like something that should be taking place in a school?
Yeah, it starts to sound a lot more like politics and not like teaching history and civics. And I find that to be very much problematic, might be a good word that we could use. My local school district is an NEA affiliate, so this has been very troubling to me because I do think that we have current teachers in place that are not gung-ho about doing this to their students and that don't want to say, like some of the training materials, that the 4-year-olds in preschool are that need to be looked at for racist tendencies and implicit bias. That's what their current professional development materials tell our teachers to worry about. I don't think our teachers are there, but our school board is there, and I fear that means our administrators are there next, and then eventually the teachers will be there. So it's time to stop it is now, and that's why I'm running.
Ultimately, they have to answer to the union, right?
Yes, ultimately the union message is another one where it's going to trickle down into the teachers' training and what they're taught and how they're forced to adapt materials that they get, right? So that's what's so worrisome about the teachers' union being so forward about saying critical race theory is something that they want to protect and defend. When this ideology, it changes the nature of the classroom. It says that the student next to you is different from you, and you must have an adversarial relationship with him if he looks different. that you're naturally inclined to think less of him. That's a dangerous way to start to raise our kids. And it's a way that we had gotten away from for a long time. And I thought we celebrated in this country that we had gotten away from thinking that people were different based on the way they look. But it seems like some people want to drag us right back to that in a way to take us backwards. It's not very progressive to me. It's very regressive.
So that leads to my next question. A lot of us were blindsided with this proposition of critical race theory, leaving us to ask the question, where did this come from? Where in our public education system did this turn take place, where we just started down this progressive path? I had one of the callers call up, and he said he's got a copy of the NEA's report from 1947 that had some pretty extremist text in it. Where in your lifetime did this take place, or does this predate us?
I think that it predates us a little bit. I know that the Howard Zinn People's History of the United States has been a worrisome textbook for a while, and I've heard tell from teachers who are a little more seasoned than I am that even in the 90s that the New York State system was demanding that your certificate application, you had to explain how what your social justice credentials were. And maybe we're slow to the gate to get after this one, but now that everyone has recognized it, I think it's time to fight it. It's the number one priority on my list of things that I pledge to do as a school director in my area. If you go to my website, gregdolan.com, GregDolan.com, you can see that the number one issue I'm going to fight on is stopping the indoctrination of critical race theory. I think it's that important, and I think it's a litmus test. If you get this right, should we teach shame and victimhood to students, or should we not? I think if you get that question right, you're going to get a lot of other things right in a school district. But if you get it wrong, you're going to get everything else wrong. So it's not the only thing I'm running on. I'm talking about our spending and our poor textbook choices in some areas. I'm doing a curriculum review of what we have. But it's the first issue, because if you can't get that simple question right, Taylor, you're really far, far behind the eight ball, and I don't trust you on anything else.
Well, and I think it speaks to the broader question of where do we diverge and go from teaching the children the facts of the matter to telling them how to think about the facts of the matter and how to think it impacts their life and their outlook on society. That's not something that I want the government, I want the public school system to be a part of in any way, shape, or form. There's a line that they're overstepping from teaching to parenting.
Yeah, and that's always a fine balance that we face as teachers. And it does seem like this one goes overboard, and especially the way that the backlash now, we're being told that actually critical race theory isn't in the schools. But if it were, it'd be okay as a way to teach. But also, it's only for law schools. These are the comments that I get constantly, trying to gaslight and deflect and change the subject from the actual merits or lack thereof of critical race theory. And so as soon as people start telling you that, well, the thing that you think is bad isn't being taught, I think that means that they know that the game is up and that we're on to them.
I'm sure you've heard the cut 100 times today, but I just want to play it again for our listeners here. This is Randy Weidengarten talking about how she says critical race theory is not in our school system. She basically just says what you just said, Greg, what the rhetoric is. Cut 7, Jared.
Critical race theory is not taught in elementary schools or middle schools or high schools. It's a method of examination taught in law school and in college that helps analyze whether systemic racism exists, and in particular, whether it has an effect on law and public policy. But culture warriors are labeling any discussion of race, racism, or discrimination as CRT to try to make it toxic. They are bullying teachers and trying to stop us from teaching students accurate history.
Are you a cultural warrior, Greg Dolan?
Only for a positive outlook of a patriotic America in our schools. If that makes me a culture warrior, then sign me up. But I am willing to go to war against an ideology that says that students should look at each other opposite and as adversaries, and that says that we can't actually join together because we happen to look different on the inside. You know, the way you're born, you can't control. What you can control is everything afterward. And I try to let my students know that and inspire them to be in charge of who they're going to come out to be. I will say Randy is right in one thing. The CRT is not taught in middle school, but that's like saying that quantum physics isn't taught in middle school. You learn about atoms and the building blocks. Well, what they're trying to do is teach our children the building blocks of critical race theory so that when they get to law school, they understand it and it's natural to them and it's obvious that they should think of each other as in different groups. So yeah, the term critical race theory applies to a law school theory or a law school idea, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't trickle into what we're doing. So again, they're playing semantics. They're playing word games by trying to trick you into thinking that it doesn't apply, and that's how we know that we're on to them.
And they keep all the language around it very vague, which I think is a very deceptive tactic as well. Is there, if you were to recommend one resource to people who want to learn more about critical race theory and how it's harming our children in public schools, where would you direct them?
Oh, I think that anything that our friend Christopher Rufo is putting out, RUFO, is usually a good source to stop by wherever he's talking about. I'm hard to pin down on one exact title just because it is so slippery, and that's what they've done. You really have to notice these words and be able to pick up on it. So it is frustratingly vague. But the 1776 PAC is also another group that has a bunch of good resources. And the last one that's coming to mind is Parents Defending Education. They do a good job of a curriculum alternatives. So sometimes we get criticized for being attacking CRT but not providing other resources. Well, Parents Defending Education has a whole list there for those that are interested. In my classroom, I prefer to just read real text of primary sources of what people said at different points in history.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
From just doing that, exactly.
Greg, thanks so much. Best of luck to you in your race. Keep us posted on what's going on. Thank you again. We appreciate your time. That's Greg Dolan. Folks, before we go to break, I got to tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. The BOGO deal is back due to the incredible response. They're continuing the Thunderstorm BOGO offer for one more week. Over 100,000 units. What am I, Joe Biden? Over 100,000 units sold and counting. Thunderstorm Air Purifier is sweeping the nation because people everywhere are raving about how well it works to get rid of odors, kill mold, mildew, and to freshen the air. It starts working in a matter of minutes to cleanse the air in your home and to help you start breathing better, and there are no costly air filters to replace, saving you hundreds of bucks each year. Find out what you've been missing. Get a Thunderstorm for yourself. Eden Pure guarantees the Thunderstorm to get rid of any odor or your money back. Right now, Eden Pure is offering a BOGO to our listeners. Buy one, get one free. All odors are gone in no time with the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Go to EdenPureDeals.com. Put in code word HowieBOGO. That's EdenPureDeals.com, code word HowieBOGO. Hurry, these will sell out quickly, so don't delay. Shipping is free.
He only steals from the very best.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Howie Carr returns after this.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by J.T. Kelly, real estate broker at Keller Williams. It's the best time to sell your house in decades. He helped my daughter, and he can help you, too. Contact him at
1-800-364-9200.
Why you always lying? This is not a major threat for the people in the United States, and this is not something that the citizens of the United States right now should be worried about. There is no need to change anything that you're doing on a day-by-day basis.
It isn't something that the American public needs to worry about or be frightened about.
People should not be walking around with masks. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask.
Some sort of mask-like facial covering should be a very regular part of how we prevent the spread of infection.
Why am I not wearing a face mask now? I had my test yesterday, and it's negative. There's nothing wrong with people wearing 2 masks. I often myself wear 2 masks. If a physical barrier with 1 mask works, it makes common sense that 2 layers or 3 layers, maybe I should put 2 masks on. There's nothing wrong with that, but there's no data that indicates that that is going to make a difference.
If you have goggles or an eye shield, you should use it.
So I think you can trust me.
If you wake up in the morning feeling stiff, then you need Balance 7. Balance 7 has helped me with all my aches and discomfort. I've been using Balance 7 for months now, and I wish I'd learned about it years ago. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. Often I'm asked to try products and can be very skeptical of claims. But with Balance 7, everything I was told turned out to be 100% true. If you've been holding off, don't wait any longer. The mailroom manager loves it for energy, and my daughter Charlotte takes it before bed to help her sleep. When I take Balance 7, I don't feel my energy fading as the day wears on. I have a jug at the studio and another jug at home. Balance 7 reduces the acids that build up in your body over time. All you have to do is drink a small shot of the liquid 3 times a day, and you will feel the difference in 24 hours. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or joint discomfort, then give Balance 7 a try. Go to balance7.com and put in code Howie for free shipping. That's balance7.com, code word Howie.
He's the gaffe that keeps on giving. Here's 1 minute of former Vice President Joe Biden.
You teachers who touch them, figuratively speaking, well, I hope you touch them and tell them how much you love them too. But my point is, when you touch their hearts.
I get in trouble with some of the things I say, but I want to tell you, just be straight up. If I'm your president, with me it starts here in my gut, goes to my heart, and then I articulate it.
And by the way, I sit on the stand and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. 1.2 billion. So you go ahead and you stack spaghetti sauce at a store in a supermarket. You control the guy or the woman who brings out the carts on a forklift. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap, and I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Got hate mail?
You bloated idiot! You stupid fat you!
Send it to Grace at HowieCarShow.com.
Again, thanks to Greg Dolan coming on the show. He's running for the Fox Chapel area school director in Pennsylvania. He's doing something about it. And he's an example for anybody that is out there thinking about making a run for your local school board or committee or advisory board, whatever it might be, anything to do with education that you can make a difference against critical race theory. It's going to be much needed. So very much consider talk with your family if you're thinking about doing anything like that. Greg, you're next on the Howie Carr Show. Thanks for holding on, Greg.
Hi, how are you doing?
Good.
I agree 100% with Mr. Nolan you just spoke to, and I just want to add something real quick. CRT to them is a religion of the demonocrats, because the T is their theory that their religion is, trying to brainwash our kids.
Well, they turn that's their MO. They turn everything into a religion, Greg. Everything. Masks became a religion where people are worshiping at the altar of Anthony Fauci. He became their god, the patron saint of COVID. Socialism has become a religion. Climate change is a cult. It's more a cult, all these things, than a religion. I mean, religions have some organization to them, and they make more sense than cults do. But this is just straight giving up of yourself entirely and shedding blood for causes that make no sense whatsoever. We've got a fun hour coming up. We're going to bring some levity to the show, get off of the CRT stuff, and we're going to hear from the best president I've had in my lifetime, Donald J. Trump, and the worst, Joe Biden.
Come on, man.
Hello, moms and dads out there. Incredibly bad Christopher Walken impersonator here. For the past forever months, 37 days and counting, housebound parents have been on an endless mission of arranging entertaining activities for whiny young children, and more recently, on an endless mission of inspiring whiny older children to get up and get a job. Well, it's time for some payback. Luckily, your friends at Matthews Brothers have come up with a solution for both problems. Go online and schedule a manufacturing tour. My friends, the clockwork precision of window manufacturing is fascinating and inspiring to both young and old, and so well explained that even politicians understand it. True story, 6-year-old Noah Hosmer took the tour. Bada boom, fast forward 10 years, he starts this summer. So, get some payback. We'll even throw in a bumper sticker. Learn more about our wicked awesome windows and doors, but only at better lumberyards and window professionals or on the web at MatthewsBrothers.com. Matthews Brothers with one T, America's oldest window manufacturer.
Watch out, Joe Biden. You might have to share some of the spotlight because your running mate, Senator Kamala Harris, is certainly grabbing some attention for her own gaffes.
She was part of our culture. Yes, we wear those notorious B.I.G. t-shirts with a lot of pride.
Best rapper alive, Tupac.
He's not alive.
You say he lives on.
I'm not alive. I know. I keep doing that. A Harris administration together with Joe Biden as the president of the United States. The Biden-Harris administration. We have got to, in America, reimagine how we are accomplishing public safety. And let's be clear, there is no vaccine for racism.
Let's just say there's a vaccine that is approved and even distributed before the election. Would you get it?
Well, I think that's going to be an issue for all of us. I will say that I would not trust Donald Trump.
I'm kind of the Grinch when it comes to almost any private event of any kind. The guy who stole Thanksgiving, the guy who stole Christmas, the guy who stole New Year's, the guy who stole every holiday you can think of. Please don't host big New Year's gatherings. And if you do anything, try to do it outside and make it brief. And I really think if you're going to watch the game, and I hope everybody has a chance to do that, if you're going to be with anybody else, I know this sounds a little ridiculous, but you should probably try to keep your distance. You should probably wear a mask, and you certainly shouldn't share food or drink with those folks, because that's just asking for trouble. Long periods of time indoors in close quarters with shared food with people who aren't of your immediate household is just risky behavior. The single biggest spike we've had in Massachusetts since the summer was Thanksgiving. They really ought to spend their holidays with what I would describe as the people who are part of their most intimate circle.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
A lot of us are going to be on the move again this summer. So my advice to you, take your Raycons with you. Whether you're working out to a pumped-up playlist or listening to a podcast on your commute, a pair of Raycon wireless earbuds in your ears can make all the difference. With Raycon, you get crisp, powerful beats at half the price of other premium audio brands. Their wireless earbuds look great and feel even better. They come in a range of cool colors with customizable gel tips for a comfortable in-ear fit. Raycons are built to go wherever you go with quick and seamless Bluetooth pairing and a compact charging case. And with a 24-hour battery life, they're a must-have for your daily grind, all day, every day. Raycon has a 45-day happiness guarantee, so give them a try. You'll be surprised you ever went anywhere without them. That's buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie. Buyraycon.com/Howie.
What impact do you think Russian interference had in the election?
I think it was one of the major contributors to the outcome.
Years from the 2016 election, and Hillary Clinton still can't accept the results. Take a listen.
You can run the best campaign. You can be the person who gets the nomination. You could lose. I believe he knows he's an illegitimate president. He knows.
The one thing that Trump
is fearful of when it comes to his being president is that finally we will see how illegitimate his victory actually was. This wasn't on the level. Flashing videos that appear and then disappear, and they're on the dark web and nobody can find them. It's like applying for a job and getting 66 million letters of recommendation and losing to a corrupt human tornado. So maybe there does need to be a rematch. I mean, obviously, I can beat him again. So, of course, he's obsessed with me.
Can we agree that if you took President Xi Jinping and turned him upside down and shook him, the World Health Organization would fall out of his pocket?
Chicago is now the largest outdoor shooting range in America.
Senator Schumer needs to fill out a hurt feelings report and let's move on. His objectivity and his credibility is broken. It's more broken than the Ten Commandments. Why do the members of the United States Senate continue to double down on stupid? If Mr. Brennan repeated in an airport some of the things that he said on TV, he would either be in handcuffs or in a straitjacket. The House leadership needs to urinate or get off the pot. No disrespect to Secretary Kerry, but he's living in La La Land. And put down the ball.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Here's 1 minute of President Eric Swalwell.
Chris, so far, the evidence is uncontradicted that the president used taxpayer dollars to ask the Ukrainians to help him cheat an election.
But I will always be real with you. I will be bold without the bold. Welcome to my fellow candidates, whom I consider we are all a part of being the Avengers. The Republicans in 2016, that was the Hunger Games.
And, it's said often that history doesn't repeat itself, it rhymes. And we heard a lot of rhymes yesterday.
My wife, Brittany, also wants you to know we've got 2 beautiful children, Nelson and Cricket. But the decision to have children was her choice.
I'm the only candidate calling for a ban and buyback on every single assault weapon. Again, we have to have an ankle monitor on this president. This is the worst possible time for a serial offender like him to be running around unsupervised.
Hair loss is not one of life's more enjoyable experiences. If you're looking to fill in your hairline or reverse years of hair loss, DiStefano Hair Restoration will create a result that will be a transformative experience. The result of my IGT procedure was quite remarkable. I now have fuller, thicker hair so I can even wear it a bit longer. There are a few major decisions I've made in my life that I wish I did sooner. My hair restoration is number one. It was by far one of the best moves I've ever made. My hair looks awesome, and the confidence from having a full head of hair again has left me feeling great. I used to look in the mirror and dreaded seeing my ever-increasing bald spot. Now when I look in the mirror, I see the new me with a full head of thick hair. For information on how to make the same choice I did, go to hairman.com/Howie. What are you waiting for? More hair to fall out? Get the hair you've always wanted. Hairman.com/Howie.
I want to be clear in how I characterize this. This is mostly a protest. It is not, generally speaking, unruly.
That ain't a riot, what we're seeing right now in Minneapolis. They are strictly principled anti-fascists.
No organization is perfect. There was some violence.
Any reasonable person would say we shouldn't be destroying other people's property, but these are not reasonable times.
I argue to you tonight, all punches are not equal morally.
But thank goodness for the looters, man.
And please, show me where it says that protests are supposed to be polite and peaceful.
Do not get it twisted and think that, this is something that has never happened.
Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
What would happen if after 9/11 we had done nothing? And to me, January 6th was worse than 9/11.
The world! And they are the greatest disinformation group of people ever in the world.
They lie to everybody. They lie to the fish.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
A lot of people ask me about Dr. Fauci. I like Dr. Fauci, but they said, why didn't you fire him? I said, no, he was good. He'd recommend something. I do the opposite, and we always turned out to be right. Yes.
I will do the opposite. I used to sit here and do nothing and regret it for the rest of the day. So now I will do the opposite, and I will do something.
Big tech is out of control. They banned the sitting president of the United States, a ban that continues to this day.
People can also be forgiven. What happened to that? What happened? It feels very Soviet, kind of, sometimes.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
844-500-4242. That's how you can join us during the last hour of the Howie Carr Show here. I'm Taylor Cormier, Howie's executive producer, filling in. He will be back tomorrow, and Friday he won't be back here in studio, but he'll be at Cape Gunworks in Hyannis with Grace Curley. They'll be doing their shows from 12 to 6 p.m. over at Cape Gunworks. So if you're on the Cape or headed to the Cape this weekend, get an early start. Head over to Cape Gunworks. Make sure you check out the cheap bastard deals at howiecarrshow.com. Click on store. We may still have a few LTC firearms classes left, safety classes that are required to take if you're looking to get your license to carry. So definitely check that out and get over there to Cape Gunworks if you can for a few great hours of broadcasting. And I think he's going to take the slide again at 6 o'clock, and I'll be back in this seat at 6 p.m. on Friday. But you won't have to deal with me too much after this hour for the next couple of days. Anyway, I did ask Jared to remind me, and he didn't, but that's mostly my fault. I wanted to hear this Conan O'Brien cut because I do really enjoy Conan O'Brien. I think he's a great humorist. I think he had some more authentic moments on his show. I thought he got a really bum deal when he took over The Tonight Show and Jay Leno decided he wanted to come back. Conan made a great host. He did a great job. He interacted well with the guests, and he wasn't a hack's hack like Jimmy Fallon. And anybody who's listened to the show before, when we've talked about Jimmy Fallon, knows my disdain for Jimmy Fallon. I used to like Jimmy Kimmel, but he got really full of himself. Stephen Colbert's changed. It's a different landscape. But this is Conan O'Brien on his podcast. I believe this is the podcast I used to listen to, Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. Let's hear, this is him on cancel culture, cut 19.
The whole concept of cancel culture is we found that someone did something in 1979 that is now not appropriate. They're dead to us. And I think...
Yeah, it's ludicrous.
What happened to, let's talk about that now, but people can also be forgiven if they even need forgiving. But what happened to that? What happened, why are we, it feels very Soviet kind of sometimes.
Who is he talking to? That sounded like John Malkovich, his guest.
That was Sean Penn, actually.
Oh, really? Let's talk to Sean Penn about Soviets. Great. Okay. That changes the landscape a little bit of the context, but interesting. It's true what he said. And Conan O'Brien, just if you know anything about him, he's a real history buff, loves Civil War history especially. And it is ridiculous. It is very Soviet. If they find out anything that you did in your past, 1979 is a little far back for social media, but kids today don't understand. Once you put something on the internet, it is forever. Somebody takes a snapshot of it. Even if somebody doesn't take a snapshot of it, the internet does log this stuff. People actually log websites on sometimes a weekly basis. And you can look up the archives of that website and see what people were posting to it years and years ago. It's not a safe place if you don't know what you're doing. I did want to get to a lot of the sound cuts that we weren't able to get to earlier in the show. We're having some great discussion about critical race theory and other matters. But Joe Biden did hold some sort of press conference today, if you can call what his gatherings are press conferences. They're mostly lectures, and lectures by the 2,000-year-old man here. But today he was talking about infrastructure, climate change. Didn't really touch too much upon COVID, but we'll see as we make our way through here. Bridges are his downfall. Whenever he talks about bridges, there's a cut of him saying, here in Ohio or in Iowa. I said Ohio because they have more bridges. Trying to make sense of what Joe Biden's saying at any given time is a full-time job. But not only are bridges his downfall, so are numbers. Cut 3, Jared.
You've got, like many states, all states, you've got 2,374 bridges.
Yeah, I dare say transportation and infrastructure would need some updating if they only had 230 bridges. Where was he today? He was out in Illinois. Human bridges. Well, Chicago's got a lot of bridges, so he was probably only counting the ones in Chicago, the 230. But yeah, 2,374. Cut 4.
1,200 miles of highway that are in disrepair. As a result, every driver in this state pays a hidden tax, about $600 per year in wasted time and wasted fuel because of the nature of the roads and bridges. And by the way, you're better than a lot of states. Not to mention the challenge of getting to work or getting to a daycare center on time to avoid that late fee when you pick up your child.
Is he saying we spend an extra $600 a year avoiding potholes? I mean, that's plausible. I don't think I waste that much gas going around a pothole, but if I were to hit one, yeah, there's probably going to be some damage to my car. I'll go along with that. Let's see. Cut 7.
You know, as the First Lady, I'm Joe Biden's husband. But
I'm sorry. As the First Lady, I'm Jill. See, how he thinks whenever he says, I'm Jill Biden's husband. Joe Biden does have something of an accent, maybe not so much an accent, but he doesn't enunciate as well as he should. I don't know if that's the dentures or the aneurysms, poor guy, but he's got to enunciate a little bit more. When he says Jill, he kind of slurs it, sounds like Joe. But he did say, as the First Lady.
You know, as the First Lady, I'm Joe Biden's husband.
And then he almost calls her by the wrong title in cut 8.
As Jill would say, and she's a full-time community college professor while being the First Lady.
Oh, he's going to pay for that when he gets... As he says, he's going to sleep in the Lincoln bedroom tonight. He always makes a joke of that.
No sleeping. Ice cream for a week.
No, oh gosh. That's a death sentence to Joe Biden. But Jill was the second lady, so I might give him a pass on that one. And he forgets where he is again. Cut 9.
I know that here at McHenry, you have a dual enrollment program. So students from places like Woodstock High School and other high schools.
Why did he go to Woodstock High School? Is that where the brain damage began for him, in Woodstock?
A little bird flying around his head most of the time.
I see it sometimes. I do. It's very cartoonish. It's a Tweety bird. Let's go to cut 11.
Middle-class families will pay no more than 7% of their income for high-quality child care for children up to age 5.
Infrom.
Their income for high-quality child care.
Okay. Now, as I said yesterday, and I pointed this out, and I point this out every time he does it, usually it's when he's talking about health concerns. It's when he's talking about coronavirus, ironically, a respiratory illness, where he coughs. But this time numbers, I guess, have some sort of a viral infection along with them. Cut 12.
With this one tax cut, every study shows that child care is cutting poverty in half by 40%.
What is the cough? A lot of theories on the text line about the cough. I won't get into them, but those who text in those theories know. If you know, you know. Cut 15.
I want to provide tax cuts for businesses and consumers who invest in clean energy technologies.
One more time, please.
Technologies.
Technologies. Okay. Howie's going to have a ball transcribing all of these. I did not know this, Jared, but those 18-wheelers you see out on the highways, any fairly large truck, school buses, they all cause kids to miss school. Joe Biden will explain this to you. Cut 16.
And diesel pollutes the air and is linked to asthma and other health problems and hurts our communities and causes our students to miss school.
That's quite the leap, Joe. Come on. Come on, man. How many times did he miss school? I'm sure the air quality...
Seems quite a bit.
I'm sure the air quality back in 1945 was a lot worse than what it is today.
And, I mean, at home, his dad was his granddad was a coal miner in the Scranton, Delaware mines, right?
It was his great-grandfather.
His great-grandfather.
His great-grandfather was a coal miner, even though he wasn't. Oh, boy. The only time diesel causes children to miss school is when the bus runs out of it and is late picking the kids up. Cut 19.
Innovative policies and land projects, local projects like installing community solar and storage and disadvantaged communities, replacing street lights that are made in America with LED bulbs.
I'm not even going to try to dissect that one. One more before we go to the break. The other day, he rolled out this new saying, because I guess he thinks comparing himself to Ronald Reagan rather makes him look younger, even though he's the oldest president that we've ever had. But he brings up Ronald Reagan's famous ad campaign of "It's Morning in America Again." And Joe Biden says, well, it's afternoon now. I'm not sure if he says that here, but he does refer back to Reagan's Morning in America Again, cut 21.
The last time the economy grew at this rate was in 1984, and Ronald Reagan was telling us it was an American morning. This is going to be an American century.
It's not, whoever is your speechwriter, Joe, you got to get rid of him. That's not catchy. It does not, you're just reminding people that we miss somebody like Ronald Reagan, i.e. Donald Trump, all that much more. This energy, this economy, he says, this energy, this economy. Reagan said American morning. No, he said morning in America again. An American century. Oh, God, this is going to be a long 100 years. 844-500-4242. We'll take your calls and listen to a little bit more of Joe. We'll be right back. I'm Taylor Cormier, filling in for Howie Carr, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
Howie will be right back after a quick trip to the Redemption Center.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by Route 1 Grill House in Saugus, located just before the Cactus. From their steak tips and ribs, the Route 1 Grill House has it all. Open now 7 days a week for both outdoor and indoor dining. Did you already blow it on your New Year's resolution? Didn't stick to that trendy new diet plan? Stop the roller coaster and get the weight off for good. People still say to me, wow, Howie, you look really great with all that weight off. But it's a lot more than looking better. It really is about feeling better, too. For me, it's about not having to wear a CPAP mask in order to sleep through the night. I'm able to go on bike rides every day. Sometimes I go on 2 or 3. I have much lower blood pressure, a lot more energy. I still eat what I want to eat, but unlike before the sleeve, now I don't overeat. Get the weight off for good. Call Newton Wellesley Weight Loss Center. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss. Don't procrastinate any longer. Whatever your age, whatever your gender, do it. Call 617-243-3724 or go to nwh.org/weight loss.
Election Day should be changed to letting people vote on Saturday until Sunday night and no exit polling.
Jerry, we're the only ones reading exit polls. What kind of saying a trend here?
So it would be, if we just held it secure and made it on Saturday and Sunday, we'd have a big turnout probably almost every presidential campaign. We have 2 days. 8 o'clock is when we can release information on Sunday night. What's so radical about that?
Two days, Jerry? Would you like the people down in Fall River or in parts of the city of Boston to have control of ballots overnight? A lot of police overtime, I think.
On second thought. No, there are people, of course, who would tamper, it's for sure, but...
Yeah, try not to let it destroy your faith in American democracy, folks out there, but there are people who would try to steal the election.
You've been hearing me talk about Super Beets for a while now, and I'm sure some of you are still thinking, why Super Beets? You could take it from me. The benefits of Super Beets are incredible. I take them twice a day. Once in the morning when I get up, even before I have my first cup of coffee, and the other time in the afternoon, right before the show. It gives me a burst of energy. It's great for my blood pressure. It's good for circulation. It just makes you feel better. If that doesn't convince you, we can talk about the science behind Super Beets. Beets have nitrates. Nitrates support better blood flow, and better blood flow equals better energy and efficiency throughout the body, and even supports healthy blood pressure. But Super Beets does so much more than eating regular beets and is unparalleled compared to other beet powders. Just 1 scoop of Super Beets has the nitric oxide equivalent of 3 whole beets. Go to superbeetsradio.com/Howie and try out Super Beets yourself. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie. www.superbeetsradio.com/Howie.
What does the mainstream media really think of you? Banjos, please.
Bigots and racists. Credulous, rude, tin-toothed,
working class, angry, white.
Aging, angry, white guys.
Angry white man.
angry white old men.
These angry white men.
The angry white vote.
All these angry white people.
Too many of them want to see the people who are begging for change put down.
Racist, bigoted base.
It's white privilege, it's white nationalism, it's anger, it's rage, it's incel.
You tolerate a certain level of racism.
1 in 3 Americans are racist.
The credulous boomer rube demo. Y'all elitists are dumb.
You elitists with your geography and your maps and your spelling. Even though my
your math and your reading.
Yeah, you're reading.
They're too far gone.
Look at them. They're high-fiving each other, and they're going to go back, to the Olive Garden and to the Holiday Inn that they're staying at and the Garden Marriott, and they're going to have some drinks.
So we can all be quiet and peaceable and have a few beers together and listen to the music and not make any wrong moves.
Howie Carr is back.
I see a little silhouette of a man. Scaramouche, Scaramouche, will you do the fandango? Thunderbolt and lightning, very, very frightening me. Galileo, Galileo, Galileo Figaro.
Oh, that is Magnifico. Oh, yes. William Shatner. Bohemian Rhapsody. First impressions, Jared?
Monstrosity is definitely the right word, but
Don't you
that
love
is
it?
glorious.
Yeah. He did a few good albums in the past 10 to 12 years. But you say that's not enough. You say, Taylor, I wish that you could combine your love of Frank Sinatra with William Shatner's mellifluous voice. It happened. William Shatner. It was a very good year. We'll have to play that one soon. 844-500-4242. The poll question today is brought to you by Goldco. Stagflation is making a comeback. Go to goldco.com/Howie Carr to request your free IRS loophole guide and learn how you can protect your wealth and take control of your retirement. That's goldco.com/Howie Carr. Jared, what's the poll question? What are the results thus far?
Will President Trump's lawsuit overturn his ban from social media?
No, we'll get into this after the bottom of the hour, but no, I don't believe he'll be back on social media as a result of this lawsuit.
61% of the audience agrees no, he will not.
All right, we've got a couple of more Biden goodies here to play. Joe Biden forgets many things, and today he forgot the name of his own plan. That is Cut 22.
Let me give you a rough example. This isn't, by the way, the plan for infrastructure is paid for.
The plan for infrastructure, is that the American Rescue Plan? Is that the one we're talking about?
You know the thing.
Yeah, that's a catch-all. You can use that. Cut 24.
If we end tax breaks for fossil fuels and make polluters pay to clean up the messes they've made, that would raise $90 billion. I'm not asking them to do anything that is unfair. Just not going to subsidize them anymore. They're doing well, thank you. And the messes they made, they should clean up.
So there he's talking about what he's going to do about gas prices, which are absolutely out of control right now. His plan is to cut tax breaks to oil companies for fossil fuels and make them pay for the cleanups of whatever, $90 billion, he says it's going to add. My question is to where? And my other question is, Mr. Biden, is that what they taught you in your economics class back in 1954, wherever you were back then? Because you were all over the map. Did they teach you that charging a company more money is going to generate a cost savings to the consumer? I don't think that's how it's going to pan out. Very quickly, Rita, you're next on the Howie Carr Show. Go ahead, Rita.
Oh, hi, Taylor. How are you?
Great.
Hi. I really like it when you fill in for Howie. And,
appreciate it. We've only got about 20 seconds here.
Okay. I just want to ask you, how long do you think that Joe Biden can get away with all these mishaps and misstatements and flubs? And I mean, it's very obvious. The media can't be that ignorant or stupid. It's not possible.
Have you on MSNBC, CBS, NBC, CNN? Have you seen them making a big deal of this? No, you haven't. He can get away with it ad infinitum. He can go on and on and on, bumbling and stumbling. Nobody cares. We'll be right back.
Eden Pure is bringing back their famous buy one, get one free sale on their most popular product, the Thunderstorm Air Purifier. With more than 100,000 sold and counting, the Thunderstorm is sweeping the nation because people everywhere are raving about how well it works to get rid of odors, kill mold and mildew, and to freshen the air. It starts working in a matter of minutes to cleanse the air in your home to help you start breathing better. And there are no costly air filters to replace, saving you hundreds of dollars every year. Find out for yourself what you've been missing. Get a Thunderstorm for yourself. Eden Pure guarantees the Thunderstorm to get rid of any odor or your money back. You have nothing to lose. And right now, Eden Pure is offering a BOGO to my listeners this week only. That's right, buy one, get one free. Pet, kitchen, tobacco, and basement smells are gone in no time with the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. Go to EdenPureDeals.com and put in code word HowieBOGO. That's EdenPureDeals.com, code word HowieBOGO. Hurry, these will sell out quickly, so don't delay. This offer ends July 4th. Shipping is free.
First-time call for me. I'm very disappointed today to see Mr. Carr on there. I find it despicable that this man is on today. I read him, and I keep hoping that one of these days he's going to have something really good journalism, but I find it hard to believe that it'll ever happen.
Guilty as charged, Howie Carr?
I think not. My job as a columnist is to sell newspapers. I mean, obviously, I'm selling a lot of newspapers if women like her are picking it up, even though they find me despicable, as she put it.
Do you find that people feel strongly about what you write?
I think they do. They do tend to feel strongly because I try to write what people are thinking. I guess in some ways I don't observe some journalistic conventions of politeness.
If you wake up in the morning feeling stiff, then you need Balance 7. Balance 7 has helped me with all my aches and discomfort. I've been using Balance 7 for months now, and I wish I'd learned about it years ago. Balance 7 is a clear mineral liquid that you take 3 times a day to break down the acid in your body. Often I'm asked to try products and can be very skeptical of claims, but with Balance 7, everything I was told turned out to be 100% true. If you've been holding off, don't wait any longer. The mailroom manager loves it for energy, and my daughter Charlotte takes it before bed to help her sleep. When I take Balance 7, I don't feel my energy fading as the day wears on. I have a jug at the studio and another jug at home. Balance 7 reduces the acids that build up in your body over time. All you have to do is drink a small shot of the liquid 3 times a day, and you will feel the difference in 24 hours. If you suffer from heartburn, acid reflux, or joint discomfort, then give Balance 7 a try. Go to balance7.com and put in code Howie for free shipping. That's balance7.com, code word Howie.
President Trump is clearly ethically unfit and intellectually unprepared to be the president of the United States. And I support Chairwoman. In the coming weeks, the House will hold hearings. Congresswoman Harris, Congressman Senator Harris. He's our president, and I would rather he not be taking something that has not been approved, especially in his age group and in his, shall we say, weight group, what is morbidly obese, they say. So completely inappropriate in so many ways that it's almost a given. It's like a child who comes in with mud on their pants or something. That's the way it is. They're outside playing. That's what he comes in with doggy do on his shoes, and everybody who works with him has that on their shoes too. But I only will do that if you tell me that this legislation is worthy of George Kirby's name. This moment of national anguish.
Cory Booker said it best.
There are definitely moments where you listen to Joe Biden and you just wonder.
Here's stumbling and mumbling Joe Biden.
David Duke, the former leader of the KKK. The Ku Klux Klan is the Ku Klux Klan. 8 more years of Donald Trump will change America in a fundamental way. But if Donald Trump is reelected, Freudian slip, and the demagogues around the world. We also have a mechanism to control drug prices. Folks at the folks at Health and the Health Department in the United States, HHS. It would put 720 million women back in the workforce. I never ever thought that I'd see what I saw in Charlotte.
Would you or would you not rejoin the TPP, yes or no?
I would not rejoin the TTP. Well, they're going out and getting G5 and going to dominate. I mean, what are we doing? The bills that the future president here, that the senator's talking about.
Live from the Matthews Brothers Studios.
Welcome back to the Howie Carr Show, 844-500-4242. So today, Trump made a long-awaited announcement of a lawsuit against Big Tech, and he named as the defendants Mark Zuckerberg, Dorsey of Twitter, and Pichai, however you pronounce his last name, from Google. The CEOs of the big three in the tech world, Facebook, Twitter, and Google, basically saying that it's unconstitutional, it's against the First Amendment to boot people off of social media for their free speech, things that they said, their opinions, their thoughts, or retweeting other people's opinions and thoughts, even if it does go against the ideologies and the sanctities of the mainstream left. And we've seen a response to this. We had, Jason Miller on from Getter yesterday talking about his new social media platform. Parler has become a thing. Kind of Gab is a thing. There's alternative streaming sources now. We've seen this great divergence in not just social media, but in streaming platforms. Like you have Netflix and Hulu, HBO Max, and all of these other things. But you also have now, there are Christian-based streaming services, family-based streaming services that don't have the propaganda that maybe Netflix and Hulu would. There's a lot of it on that. Last week I got rid of my Netflix subscription. Finally, I had been wanting to do that for some time. The content was lacking for me. They had come out with some things that I wasn't too happy about. They were promoting a lot of things that I did not feel needed to be promoted. It was a lot of in-your-face stuff, and I just said no more. They don't have anything good on here that I want. So I switched over to HBO Max because I had to rewatch The Sopranos. It's such a good series. But anyway, I digress. So there's been a great divergence and a lot of there's a lot more niche services that you can get, whether it be through social media or streaming. So Trump's argument here that he's going to be making is not that it was just against free speech because these companies are private entities, but he's going to make the argument that these tech companies are actually quasi-governmental subsidiaries because they have worked in concert with government agencies, namely CDC, the WHO, Dr. Fauci, so many bad actors, and Jack Dorsey. Of course, he kind of rigged the election in a way where any story that was posted about whether it be Nancy Pelosi or Hunter Biden's laptop, namely, it was nixed. You could not retweet it. It was unbelievable when that happened. I could not believe it's become part of a normal life now. You get suspended if you post something that isn't what they want you posting. But when that first started coming out earlier this year, it was late last year, October surprise. The Hunter Biden laptop, the gift that keeps on giving. The laptop from hell, really bad. That was last year. You could not post the New York Post article about it. You couldn't post any article about it that came out. There were people that were taking the article, posting it to their website, and then sharing the link to the website so that it would redirect you to the article so you could read it. It was like communist China and people out passing pamphlets and Bibles to people. Like, here's where you can actually read the truth. It was unbelievable. So Trump is going to argue, and his team of lawyers from the American First Policy Foundation, they're going to be arguing that these companies, these private entities, should be considered quasi-governmental agencies because they do work in tandem with federal government and local government on many issues to get the word out. So let's just start off with the announcement here. This is cut one.
Today, in conjunction with the America First Policy Institute, I'm filing as the lead class representative a major class action lawsuit against the big tech giants, including Facebook, Google, and Twitter, as well as their CEOs, Mark Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai, and Jack Dorsey. 3 real nice guys.
He always has to get that one zinger in. 3 real nice guys. Oh, yeah, they are real nice guys. They booted you. They rigged the election for you. Not for you, but for Joe Biden. They rigged it against you. He does have a sense of humor at times. Most times. Cut 4.
In the words of the father of our country, although some would like to take that title away from him, George Washington, he will not be canceled. If freedom of speech may be taken away, then dumb and silent, we may be led like sheep to the slaughter.
Well, take a look. Your free speech, your conduits for free speech, where you can reach the most people. If you're preaching misinformation or disinformation, they'll take that away from you. They don't care. If what you're saying is opinion and not fact, many cases they can take it away from you. It's really sad. He did bring a couple of other people that have signed on to the lawsuit. I didn't grab those cuts. But one woman was there whom he said she had put up some stuff about hydroxychloroquine or something, and she was taken down from Facebook. She was taken off of Facebook, suspended, put in Facebook jail, they say. The next day, her brother went missing, and she could not get the word out to the people that follow her on Facebook or Twitter, whatever it might have been, because she had been suspended. I mean, in these cases, those are great tools for getting the word out about something like that. If people have GoFundMes for family members or friends who are terminally ill and they're raising funds for either funerals or support for the families. And social media is the way to get the word out about those things. It's tough when you're just expressing an opinion that you hold true. Maybe you don't even hold it true to yourself. Maybe you just want to see what other people think about it. And they have this carte blanche to just cut you down. And here's the crux of President Trump's argument on big tech, the big three here, how they should be identified as quasi-governmental entities. Cut 5.
It's, in effect, a massive government subsidy. These companies have been co-opted, coerced, and weaponized by government and by government actors to become the enforcers of illegal, unconstitutional censorship. And that's what it is at the highest level.
Coerced, cooperated. I can't even remember the third one. And he said all those without stumbling. Boy, I miss that guy.
It's amazing.
It's amazing. Rambo 413 says, Taylor, it's nice to hear a president ramble off 3 names in a row without stumbling or bumbling. Yeah, it was great to watch this press conference because it did remind you how much you miss the guy. It's bittersweet in a way. It's great to know he's still around. He's still fighting. And, he talks a lot about these people are taking you down for disinformation, spreading disinformation. When the Democratic Party is the worst of all when it comes to disinformation. Cut 7.
And they are the greatest disinformation group of people ever in the world. As an example, just recently, now they're saying, we never said defund the police. We want to fund the police. They looked at poll numbers at 85% against them. No. We want to take care of the police. They don't. They wanted to fund the police. And they'll say it thousands and thousands and thousands of times. And by the end of 12 months, you'll all be saying, oh, they love the police. They don't love the police. They actually hate the police.
You can see it. We talked about it earlier. The NEA wants to get the police out of your schools. But he's right. How many times? How many times a day? If Joe Biden opens his mouth, he's lying. If Jen Psaki opens her mouth, she's lying. She's circling. She's circling back. And he points out that in so many of these cases, and we say it all the time, Trump has said things and people say, oh, that's silly, that's fake, that's nonsense, that's a fringe theory, like the hydroxychloroquine, is like so many other things, especially to do with the pandemic, closing down the borders to China and closing down travel from China. So many of these things were terrible things, fringe theories, not rooted in reality whatsoever. But then it may have taken months later for it to come out, but it came out 9 times out of 10. The guy was right on. And he says that these tech giants, the big three, they're basing their rules and regulations, their diktats over, they're basing them on people like Dr. Fauci, the CDC, cut 11.
This was especially clear during the pandemic when social media giants began censoring information according to guidance by the CDC, which, as we now know, was very often incorrect or wrong.
And he says experts in their field were booted off of Facebook and Twitter. They were talking about something they know about. Cut 13.
Doctors and medical groups have been barred from these platforms for posting about therapeutics such as hydroxychloroquine. That's a familiar name. which now, most recent studies say, is effective in combating the virus. 3 cents a pill. The drug companies don't like 3 cents a pill. 3 cents a pill is what it costs.
Yeah. The drug companies weren't fans of his at all. He made them cut rates and make medications a lot cheaper for people, more accessible for people. They did not like that whatsoever. 3 cents a pill, huh? You know, I could have bought 5 hydroxychloroquine pills with the amount of money Joe Biden saved me on my barbecue. How about that? What can't Joe Biden do? Trump points out that he is standing in the gap. I know a lot of people hate talk like that. No, I don't view the man as a god or the second coming of Christ. But he has proven time and time again he's standing up for the American people, and he's doing it again with this lawsuit here. And he realizes that. Cut 15.
And of course, there is no better evidence that big tech is out of control than the fact that they banned the sitting president of the United States earlier this year, a ban that continues to this day. Continues. So we get the word out, but it's not a fair situation. Very, very bad for this country, very bad for the world. If they can do it to me, they can do it to anyone. And in fact, that is exactly what they're doing.
Even in that cut, it's not a very direct needle, but he's kind of needling Joe Biden there. They deplatformed a sitting president earlier this year. Middle finger to Joe Biden. Let's see, just a couple more here. This cut was in the intro, but it's pretty funny. Cut 17.
You know, a lot of people ask me about Dr. Fauci. I like Dr. Fauci. I actually get along with him great. But they said, why didn't you fire him? I said, no, he was good. He'd recommend something. I do the opposite, and we always turned out to be right. Sir, don't close the borders to China. We closed them very early. Get no credit for anything, but these are minor details.
He's so with it. He's so with it. What, he's 74, going on 75. Is he 75 yet? I'm not sure. No, he's 75, right? He just turned 75. Flag Day is his birthday. Just turned 75 years old. Joe Biden's only 3 years ahead of him. Even 3 years ago, Joe Biden wasn't this articulate. One more before we go to the break. This was pretty funny. One of the people that signed on to the class action lawsuit was in the notes to be introduced. President Trump went to introduce him. He was informed that his flight had been delayed, and this is what happened. Cut 16.
Kelly, thank you for your bravery. Please say a few words. Thank you. Facebook delayed the flight. The flight's delayed by 4 hours. I wonder. I can't believe that. That's terrible. What they will do. All right. Thank you anywhere. Here he is,
looking
landing,
up at the sky.
Going into Newark.
I miss that wit. I really do. 844-500-4242. We'll close things out on the other side. I'm Taylor Cormier, filling in for Howie Carr, and this is the Howie Carr Show.
You're listening to the Howie Carr Show.
Hi, I'm Michael Wall, regional owner for Exit Realty, with some great news. The real estate market is on fire. Over the past year, real estate has continued to sell. Our brokerages throughout New England have continued to thrive, and our agents have been able to enjoy a great income through sales and the single-level residuals exclusive to Exit Realty. I'd give you this brief market update in order to let you know that if you are looking for an opportunity, Exit Realty is growing in New England. Perhaps you're a broker looking for a very affordable next step to enjoy the tools and technology that will help take your business to the next level. Local Exit Realty franchise opportunities are available. Exit Realty believes in finding the right leaders to teach, train, and develop top-producing agents across North America. If this sounds like you, we'd like to have a confidential conversation with you about the Exit Realty opportunity. Find out why savvy brokers and owners choose Exit Realty. Simply text Owner Exit NE to 85377 to learn more. That's all one word, Owner Exit NE to 85377.
I think if we do the things we've done and we need to continue to do, playing by the rules, wearing face coverings, socially distancing wherever we can, it will make whatever we choose to do in the winter a heck of a lot easier to pull off. If people would just wear these things religiously for 30 days, we could kill the virus. Religiously wear them for 30 days. And if people abide by these very simple rules and concepts, it can allow us to keep everything open. And it can give us the kind of holiday season that I think everybody is hoping for. There is hope on the horizon, but we need to work really hard to get from where we are to there. This is not forever. This is once. One time, 1 month, 1 year. The path back to something that looks a little more like normal is just around the corner. A few more months is right there in front of us. People need to keep doing what they've been doing for the better part of the past year.
A lot of us are going to be on the move again this summer. So my advice to you, take your Raycons with you. Whether you're working out to a pumped-up playlist or listening to a podcast on your commute, a pair of Raycon wireless earbuds in your ears can make all the difference. With Raycon, you get crisp, powerful beats at half the price of other premium audio brands. Their wireless earbuds look great and feel even better. They come in a range of cool colors with customizable gel tips for a comfortable in-ear fit. Raycons are built to go wherever you go with quick and seamless Bluetooth pairing and a compact charging case. And with a 24-hour battery life, they're a must-have for your daily grind, all day, every day. Raycon has a 45-day happiness guarantee, so give them a try. You'll be surprised you ever went anywhere without them. That's buyraycon.com/Howie, buyraycon.com/Howie, buyraycon.com/Howie.
Joe Biden's plagiarizing prowess proves one thing: he's been stealing all his life.
Let us pledge that our generation of Americans will pay any price. We shall pay any price. Bear any burden. Bear any burden. Accept any challenge and meet any hardship. Meet any hardship. To secure the blessings of prosperity and the promise of opportunity for our children. To assure the survival and the success of liberty.
But this standard is not a measure of how we can evaluate the condition of our society. It cannot measure the health of our children.
Yet the gross national product does not allow for the health of our children.
The quality of our education.
The quality of their education.
The joy of their play.
For the joy of their play.
Come on, man.
Maybe you know what a zombie is. You see them sometimes, walking around blindly with dead eyes, following orders, not knowing what they do, not caring. You mean like Democrats?
Howie Carr is back.
When I was 21, it was a very good year.
Oh, yeah.
It was a very good year for city girls who lived up the stair.
Boy, you can't get more hammy than that.
Perfumed hair.
But he does later in the song. It's great. I'm going to have to listen to this on my way home, the whole album. William Shatner covering Frank Sinatra. See, you learn something new every day. How many of you knew that took place? But just a quick note here. If you've never caught me at a Sinatra gig, I do have one coming up this Saturday night from 9 p.m. to midnight at the Ale House Cigar Bar in Providence. I debuted there a few weeks ago to great acclaim. Nobody wrote anything about it, but everybody there had a good time, and so did I. It was a lot of fun. So if you want to come out, check them out on Facebook, Instagram. They've got a website as well. Just Google or DuckDuckGo Ale House Cigar Bar, and I'll be there Saturday night from 9 p.m. to midnight, and hope to see you there as well. We played this cut earlier, but it's still good. This is the worst of it all for Donald Trump was the suppression of the October surprise, the big kahuna, the Hunter Biden laptop, cut 19.
The laptop from hell. They didn't want to. You look at that thing. That is There is more criminal activity on that laptop than Al Capone had, if he ever had a laptop. Would like to give Al Capone one, but he was a baby compared to what I was able to see.
See, I was going to say earlier when we first played that cut that he probably didn't have as much criminal activity on there as Al Capone would have, but I remember Trump has probably seen most of, if not all, of the content on that laptop. That's there's a lot of rumors out there that I suspect are probably more true than not. Anyway, that does it for us here on the Howie Carr Show. Thanks so much to Howie and the mailroom manager for allowing me to fill in these past 2 days. Howie is back tomorrow in studio. I believe we've got VIPs coming in tomorrow, too. So we've got a great couple of days coming up. Cape Gun Works in Hyannis, Friday, 12 to 6 p.m. Howie and Grace are going to be there. Don't miss it out. Have a great night.
On the road again. Just can't wait to get on the road again.
Summer has arrived, and that means we are headed to the Cape.
Yes, to Cape Gun Works in Hyannis this Friday, and we will be there broadcasting live from 12 to 6.
Don't forget, one free book per listener and a free raffle for our in-studio VIP experience.
You could sign up for classes, take a look at their gun range, or just shop around and see all they have to offer.
I've taken their classes, and they're fantastic.
I plan on being there a lot this summer, shooting at the range and just having some fun.
Howie, do you think there's any chance I can try out their flamethrower?
Maybe, but I'd prefer to keep my hair just the way it is, so I'll keep my distance.
On the road again.
Make sure you come by and see us, and we will have some fun this Friday at Cape Gun Works in Hyannis from 12 to 6.
And I can't wait to